Chapter 73. Sister, it seems like you're having a hard time in the Langyas sacred ground. After Tsing Shan had left, Jun Haoyan walked over to Jun Moyo with a questioning look in his eyes. What can a mere Tsing Shan do to me? Jun Moyo snorted coldly when he heard that. He had no intention of explaining to Jun Haoyan. He took out a token from his storage ring and said, "The Langyas sacred ground will apply to join the inner court in 3 days. Take my token and you can join the Langyas sacred ground directly." Jun Moyo seemed to have thought of something and said, "Haoyan, after joining the Langyas sacred ground, try not to go out. Wait for me to come back." Wait for you to come back? Where are you going? Jun Haoyan was puzzled when he heard that. I have an extremely important matter to attend to, so I must leave for a period of time. You must be careful at all times during these few days. Jun Moyo explained. If someone deliberately makes things difficult for you, bear with it. Wait for me to come back. I'll definitely help you vent your anger. Jun Moyo instructed Jun Haoyan a lot. Tsing Shan's words just now made him feel a little uneasy. He wanted Jun Haoyan to join the Langyas sacred ground as soon as possible so that Jun Haoyan's life would not be in danger. However, she also knew that with Tsing Shan's power in the Langyas sacred ground, it would be very easy for him to find trouble with Jun Haoyan. Therefore, Jun Moyo seemed to be reminding Jun Haoyan to be patient. He just had to wait for her to come back. When that time came, she would definitely avenge her brother. Jun Moyo's people must not be bullied. Okay, I'll try my best to be patient. Seeing Jun Moyo's worried expression, Jun Haoyan immediately agreed. Although he verbally agreed to Jun Moyo's request, Jun Haoyan's heart was somewhat disapproving. Jun Haoyan's principle in life had always been to repay grievances with grievances and take revenge with revenge. If anyone dared to bully him, then don't blame him for being impolite. Yes, you must remember my words. After I leave, you just stay on Moyushan Peak. I will give the order, and the people on Moyushan Peak will naturally take care of your daily needs. Jun Moyo was relieved when he saw Jun Haoyan agree. Clearly she cared a lot about her younger brother. As an elder sister, she had left home at a young age and had not fulfilled her responsibilities as an elder sister. This had always made her feel guilty. Now that his younger brother had come to rely on him, he could not let him suffer the slightest grievance. Moreover, she was confident that she could protect Jun Haoyan. Jun Moyo took out a scroll of jade slips from his storage ring and said to Jun Haoyan, "These jade slips contain some information about the Langyas sacred ground and the martial god continent. If you are bored here, you can take a look." Hearing this, Jun Haoyan could not help but be overjoyed. These jade slips could help him understand the Langyas sacred ground and the martial god continent. Next, Jun Moyo arranged for Jun Haoyan to stay on Moyushan Peak. As a true disciple, Jun Moyo's Moyushan Peak was her exclusive territory. On this divine mountain, she naturally had the greatest authority. At this moment, on a towering main peak of the Langyas sacred ground. This main peak was very large and there were many buildings on it. There were also origin formations that condensed the Yuan Qi of heaven and earth. However, in terms of the density of the Yuan Qi of heaven and earth, this main peak was far inferior to Moyushan Peak. This main peak was the Yuan Peak of the Langyas sacred ground. The people who lived on it were the core disciples of the Langyas sacred ground. In the Langyas sacred ground, only those who had reached the status of a true disciple were qualified to own their own divine mountain. Below the level of a true disciple, there were dozens of people who lived on one peak. At this moment, on the Yuan Peak in the Purple Moon Hall, a woman in a long green dress was sitting in the middle of the hall. The woman's face was extremely beautiful, and her skin was fairer than snow. The aura she exuded was even more enchanting. This woman was Long Ziyue. At this moment, her beautiful eyes were filled with endless murderous intent. The true origin around her surged, layer by layer, as if it was about to materialize. "What you said, is it true?" At this moment, a man was kneeling in the hall. This man was also a disciple of the Long family. When Jun Haoyan annihilated the Long family, he had escaped because he was working outside. "It's true. Princess, you must avenge the Duke and the young master. They died so tragically." The man knelt on the ground, his face filled with hatred. Jun Haoyan. Upon hearing that, Long Ziyue was filled with murderous intent. Her true origin was raging, and she could not wait to tear Jun Haoyan into pieces. She was filled with regret. She should not have spared Jun Haoyan's life back then. How long had he been gone? She did not know what kind of opportunity Jun Haoyan had encountered that allowed him to annihilate the governor's mansion in such a ruthless manner. She must avenge him. Boom. At this moment, an extremely terrifying aura suddenly descended on the Purple Moon Hall. Feeling this aura, Long Ziyue was shocked. The disciple of the Long family who was kneeling on the ground trembled. This aura was no different from the heavens to a martial artist in the Qi condensation realm like him, and he almost fainted. Senior brother Qi. Upon seeing the person's face, Long Ziyue's expression suddenly relaxed. She immediately waved her hand at the hall and asked him to leave. The person who came was Tsing Shan, who had just left Mo Yushin Peak. Junior sister Long, why are you so angry? Tsing Shan looked at Long Ziyue with a gentle smile on his face. It's just a small matter. Senior brother, you don't have to worry about it. Hearing that, Long Ziyue's expression changed slightly and she said slowly. Tsing Shan stared at Long Ziyue with a calm expression and said, Junior sister, I remember you once said that the Jun family has been annihilated, but why are there still people from the Jun family alive? Upon hearing that, Long Ziyue's expression changed drastically. Could it be that Tsing Shan also knew about the annihilation of the Long family? Senior brother, I will destroy the Jun family as soon as possible, Long Ziyue said solemnly. It's too late. Jun Haoyan of the Jun family has already arrived at the Langyas sacred ground. Jun Moyo is going to bring him to join the Langyas sacred ground. Tsing Shan said calmly. What? Jun Haoyan has arrived at the Langyas sacred ground. Long Ziyue's expression changed drastically. She did not expect Jun Haoyan to act so quickly. It's useless to think about this now. You should know what that person's purpose is. He only cares about results. As long as we deal with Jun Moyo, we will have completed our mission. Tsing Shan did not dwell on this issue and directly mentioned the important person behind him. That important person was also Jun Moyo and Tsing Shan's biggest backer in the Langyas sacred ground. Long Ziyue was able to become a core disciple in such a short time. Other than her own talent and special constitution, it was all because of this important person behind her. Originally, Jun Moyo was all alone in the world. He had no relatives or friends, so there was no weakness. He was stubborn and we couldn't do anything about it. Tsing Shan looked at Long Ziyue and said slowly, but now that Jun Haoyan has arrived, I want to see how Jun Moyo will submit. Senior brother, you mean to start with Jun Haoyan and force Jun Moyo to submit? Long Ziyue immediately understood what Tsing Shan meant. Chapter 74. That's right. From the looks of it, Jun Moyo seems to value his younger brother a lot. If we start with Jun Haoyan, we can definitely make Jun Moyo submit to us. Tsing Shan sneered. Senior brother Qi, leave this matter to me. I'm quite familiar with Jun Haoyan. Long Ziyue suggested to Tsing Shan. That's fine. I hope you won't disappoint me this time. Tsing Shan looked at Long Ziyue and nodded. It would be best if he did not have to do it himself. By the way, junior sister, about what I said to you last time, shouldn't you give me an answer? Suddenly, Tsing Shan seemed to have recalled something. He smiled ambiguously and looked at Long Ziyue gently. Qi Qingshan had coveted the beautiful junior sister apprentice in front of him for a long time. I'm sorry, senior brother. I already have someone in my heart. Long Ziyue frowned when she heard Tsing Shan's words. She was even more annoyed by Tsing Shan's perverted gaze. Junior sister, are you still obsessed with that Jun Haoyan? Tsing Shan's face turned cold when he saw Long Ziyue's expression. He did not know that as a true disciple of Langya Holy Ground, he was not as good as Jun Haoyan. Lu Feng, that bastard. I asked him to kill a nobody in a small place and he actually wasted so much time. When he comes back, I must punish him. Tsing Shan could not help but think of Lu Feng who he had sent out. He was a little annoyed in his heart. That's right. Other than Haoyan, I, Long Ziyue, will not be moved by any other man. Hearing Qi Qingshan mention Jun Haoyan, an arrogant figure flashed in Long Ziyue's eyes, and a touch of tenderness appeared on her face. Good, very good. Seeing the tenderness on Long Ziyue's face, Tsing Shan was instantly envious. He snorted and disappeared from the Purple Moon Palace. Haoyan, I wonder how you are now. Long Ziyue did not take Tsing Shan's departure to heart. She looked to the west in the direction of Green Cloud Holy Ground with tenderness in her eyes. Haoyan, do you know that Jun Haoyan's uncle has been killed by Jun Haoyan? Long Ziyue's eyes flashed with murderous intent when she recalled Jun Haoyan's grief when he found out that his father was killed by Jun Haoyan. She had planned to leave Langya Holy Ground to kill Jun Haoyan. However, she had taken the initiative to kill Long Ziyue. Jun Haoyan, last time Ao Tian crippled your Dantian, allowing you to escape a calamity. This time I will make sure you suffer a fate worse than death. I will sacrifice the lives of the Long family members in heaven. The murderous intent in Long Ziyue's eyes was almost tangible. On Mo Yushin Peak, Jun Haoyin sat alone on a green rock. There was a stack of jade slips beside him. They were left behind by Jun Moyo. After reading these jade slips, Jun Haoyin finally had a general understanding of this world. According to the jade slips, Langya Holy Ground was established 108,000 years ago. The founder of Langya Holy Ground was known as the Lord of Langya. He was a divine illusionary realm powerhouse who dominated the world. His combat strength was unparalleled and he had once dominated an era. When he reached his peak, he broke through the void and ascended to the realm of the gods. According to the ancient records, there was another world above the Wuxian continent called the realm of the gods. The 7 holy grounds of the human race had divine illusionary realm powerhouses who had broken through the void and entered the realm of the gods. Therefore, the 7 holy grounds of the human race were more or less related to the realm of the gods. Every holy land contained a shocking amount of resources. The realm of the gods was a place where only divine illusionary realm powerhouses could enter. Legend had it that after ascending to the realm of the gods, one could eliminate the 3 calamities and 9 disasters. One would be immortal and live as long as heaven and earth. Those who could not break through the void and enter the realm of the gods, even if they were divine illusionary realm powerhouses, could only live for 100,000 years before disappearing from the world. Therefore, to the disciples of the holy grounds, the purpose of cultivation was not only to become stronger, but also to break through the void and live forever. The jade slips that Jun Haoyin read also recorded some secrets about small worlds. According to the ancient records, the Wuxian continent was just one of the 3,000 small worlds below the realm of the gods. There were at least 3,000 worlds like the Wuxian continent below the realm of the gods. When he read this, Jun Haoyin was extremely shocked. This world was far bigger than he imagined. Of course, this was still too far away for Jun Haoyin. What he was most concerned about was the information about the Langya Holy Ground. In the Langya Holy Ground, the disciples were divided into 4 levels: outer disciple, inner disciple, core disciple, and true disciple. The cultivation of the outer disciple was almost all below the true energy realm. Only those who had reached the true energy realm could be promoted to inner disciple. In the Langya Holy Ground, true energy realm powerhouses were only inner disciples. However, once their cultivation broke through to the true energy realm level 5, they could apply to become a core disciple. As for true disciple, it was extremely strict. In addition to breaking through to the Yuandan realm, they also had to challenge. In the Langya Holy Ground, there were only 108 sequences for true disciple. They were divided into 72 earthly fiend sequences and 36 heavenly star sequences. To become a true disciple, one had to challenge one of them. If he succeeded, he would replace that true disciple. Of course, if he failed, the Langya Holy Ground would also give him a position as an elder and keep the Yuandan realm powerhouses in the Holy Ground. Of course, an elder position was not as good as a true disciple in terms of treatment and resources. In addition, in the Langya Holy Ground, every disciple only had one chance to challenge a true disciple every year. If they were not confident, no one dared to challenge him. In the face of such pressure, the true disciple in the Langya Holy Ground not only had to have a strong cultivation base, but also had to have a terrifying combat strength. As a true disciple, he was the hope of the Holy Ground's future. He was also the person with real power in the Holy Ground. If he did not have the strength, he could not be ranked among the immortals. It was also because of this that every true disciple was very precious to the Holy Ground. Jun Haoyin heard from the servants on Mo Yushin Peak that Jun Moyo and Tsing Shan were both ranked above the 72 earthly fiend sequences. As for the ranking above the true disciple, it was the Holy Sun. In the Langya Holy Ground there were at most 2 Holy Sun. And the future Holy Lord would be chosen between these 2 people. This was the Holy Ground. It was like a pyramid, and the level of the forest was almost insurmountable. Of course, as long as you had the strength, you could enjoy all of this. The Holy Ground, I really came to the right place. Jun Haoyin put down the last jade scroll in his hand and smiled slightly. In his heart, he liked the rule of the world where the strong were respected. The real strong were never afraid of death. Chapter 75. I've learned everything I need to know. Next, it's time to cultivate. Jun Haoyin muttered to himself as he stored all the jade scrolls into his storage ring. Jun Moyo had left the Langya sacred ground yesterday to attend to some matters. There were still 2 days left before he could apply to become an inner sect disciple. He couldn't afford to waste these 2 days. Although he was very powerful now, he could even fight against an ordinary Yuandan cultivator with his current strength. However, he was still lacking compared to those top prodigies. There were many prodigies in the sacred ground. If he wanted to get better treatment here, he had to constantly improve his strength. Moreover, he hadn't forgotten the first thing he had to do after entering the Langia sacred ground. He had to send Long Ziyue to reunite with Jun Haoyan. However, this was a very difficult task. Long Ziyue had already become a core disciple of the Langia sacred ground. Therefore, her backer had to be at least a true disciple. Moreover, it had to be one of the strongest true disciples. In addition, there was also Tsing Shan, whom he had met the other day. It was obvious that he didn't get along with his sister Jun Moyo. Although it appeared to be peaceful and uneventful, it was actually filled with danger from all sides. Jun Haoyan didn't have a good way to break out of this situation. The only way to solve this problem was to increase his strength. Immediately, Jun Haoyan closed his eyes, immersed his mind, and prepared to cultivate. Ding. The check-in time has been refreshed. Would the host like to check in? However, at this moment, the system's notification suddenly sounded. Hearing the notification, Jun Haoyan was overjoyed. At such a critical moment, it would be best if he could get something good from checking in. Check in. Therefore, he answered decisively. Ding. Congratulations to the host for checking in successfully. You have received the 9 Wonders Immortal Elixir. The 9 Wonders Immortal Elixir. This time he had received the ultimate immortal elixir. The greatest effect of this immortal elixir was to refine the energy in the body, temper the body, and transform the body. And what Jun Haoyan needed right now was this elixir of immortality. His body had already absorbed a large amount of yin and yang energy, and the golden winged rock's essence blood contained a large amount of yin and yang energy as well. As long as he consumed this 9 profundity immortal herb, he would be able to fully refine the yin and yang energy in his body, allowing his soul to transform and advance to the next level. Jun Haoyan's physical body was now infinitely close to a treasure body after being refined day and night by the Gold Emperor's burning heavens flame. However, without any good fortune, Jun Haoyan would still need to spend a lot of time to condense the treasure body. According to Jun Haoyan's estimation, if he only relied on the Gold Emperor incinerating heaven's flame to temper his body, he would not be able to do so. He still needed at least a few more years before his spirit body could advance a step further and turn into a treasure body. But now that he had the 9 profundity immortal elixir, he wouldn't need to wait that long. There are still 2 days before the registration, which is enough time for me to absorb the medicinal effects of the 9 profundity immortality medicine. Jun Haoyan estimated the time and immediately decided to consume the 9 profundity immortality elixir. After making up his mind, Jun Haoyan returned to the Mou treasure palace and took out the 9 profundity immortality elixir. There was a Tao Xian light flowing on the 9 profundity immortality elixir, flashing with all kinds of abstruse and mysterious runes. As expected of the immortality elixir, it has its own laws. Jun Haoyan's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise, and then he swallowed the immortality elixir. Boom. The moment Jun Haoyan swallowed the immortality elixir, a powerful and terrifying aura flowed to every corner of his body. The powerful medicinal effects instantly spread to every part of Jun Haoyan's body. His meridians, cells, pores, and even his internal organs were enveloped by an extremely strong medicinal effect. Under this medicinal effect, Jun Haoyan felt that every cell in his body was undergoing a drastic change. Once again, Jun Haoyan felt the same sensation he had felt when he had transformed into a spirit body. His flesh and blood began to transform under this force. With a thought, Jun Haoyan directly controlled the Gold Emperor's heaven-incinerating flame to appear slowly in his body. The two forces instantly intertwined, producing an even more powerful force. At the same time, the yin-yang energy and the golden winged rock blood essence in his body gradually merged with Jun Haoyan's body under the effects of the immortality elixir. Waves of extremely powerful yin-yang energy churned in Jun Haoyan's body and gradually engulfed Jun Haoyan's entire body. Behind Jun Haoyan, shadows of primordial mammoths appeared one after another. Jun Haoyan's body continuously condensed mammoth seeds. At this moment, Jun Haoyan's aura was completely unleashed, as if he was an ancient giant. The aura exuding from his body was enough to suppress the 9 underworlds. Fortunately, Jun Moyo's palace was a treasure, and it was protected by an origin formation. Otherwise, the aura exuding from Jun Haoyan's body would definitely affect the other god mountains. As the main character of the immortality elixir was refined, Jun Haoyan felt that every inch of his flesh and blood was changing and transforming. The suppressive power of the primordial mammoth shadow floating behind him also became stronger and stronger. These forces continuously stimulated Jun Haoyan's bloodline to evolve. As Jun Haoyan's body became stronger, The speed at which the mammoth seeds were condensing in his body also increased. 890 seeds. 900 seeds. 920 seeds. 950 seeds. These were merely the aftermath of Jun Haoyin's body's transformation. The real qualitative change was still in Jun Haoyin's body. The transformation process of the body was undoubtedly excruciating. However, Jun Haoyin had even withstood the burning of the Gold Emperor's heaven-incinerating flame. So what was this? Boom. The power in his body surged once again, and Jun Haoyin's body suddenly underwent a shocking change. All his pores were inhaling and exhaling essence qi, and his skin became crystal clear and white like snow. Just like the bright and beautiful glass, it was dazzling. In addition, in Jun Haoyin's body, his soul actually became almost transparent, pure and flawless. If one looked closely, they could even see traces of golden light emitting from inside. His body was like a golden body, and his soul was like a golden light. This was a sign that he was about to be promoted to a treasure body. A treasure body was unparalleled in terms of physical strength, and it could resist an origin weapon. It was a rare occurrence that happened once in 1,000 years. Moreover, Jun Haoyin's body had fused with a large amount of yin and yang energy. The treasure body that he condensed seemed to be extraordinary as well. Yin and yang were in balance and they multiplied endlessly. The treasure body that Jun Haoyin condensed was actually the rare yin and yang treasure body. Under the influence of the yin and yang treasure body, Jun Haoyin discovered that his true essence was actually emitting a fluctuation of the laws of yin and yang. Although it was not very obvious, Jun Haoyin could vaguely feel it. Feeling the fluctuation of the laws of yin and yang, Jun Haoyin was immediately shocked. This kind of fluctuation of the laws of yin and yang was not as simple as Jun Haoyin's. In the martial god continent there was a famous saying. Without the Yuan Dan, yin and yang could not be distinguished. It meant that martial artists who had not reached the Yuan Dan realm could not distinguish between yin and yang with their true essence. Chapter 76. Before the Yuan Dan, yin and yang were indistinguishable. However, Jun Haoyin had already reached the stage of yin and yang differentiation at the true energy realm level 6. On the other hand, it could be said that Jun Haoyin had achieved what only a Yuan Dan realm expert could do. What a heaven-defying feat. Reaching the stage of yin and yang differentiation meant that there was no bottleneck for Jun Haoyin to break through to the Yuan Dan realm. As long as Jun Haoyin continued to improve his strength, it would only be a matter of time before he reached the Yuan Dan realm. After the yin and yang treasured body was condensed, everything was done. Jun Haoyin slowly stood up. As Jun Haoyin stood up, the yin and yang qi flowed around his body, and the true energy in his body surged. At times, it was fierce and vigorous like an ancient war god. At times, it was gentle and gentle, like a young master from a chaotic world. Jun Haoyin slightly restrained his aura, and everything became calm. After condensing the yin and yang treasured body, Jun Haoyin's control over his aura had reached the point of perfection. After restraining his aura, other than his handsome appearance, he was just like an ordinary person. His mind sank into his body, and Jun Haoyin carefully sensed everything that was happening in his body. Then an excited smile appeared on his face. 1,000 giant elephant seeds. Now he had condensed 1,000 giant elephant seeds in his body. At this moment he had reached the limit of the true energy realm level 6. Once he condensed another giant elephant seed, he would be able to break through to the true energy realm level 7. Moreover, Jun Haoyin's yin and yang treasured body was unparalleled. Jun Haoyin felt that with his current physical defense, he could even resist a treasured weapon. It could be said that without using true energy, Jun Haoyin could easily kill a true energy realm level 10 expert with just his treasured body. He was not even afraid of a great martial artist of the Yuan Dan realm. Then Jun Haoyin slowly walked out of the hall. It took him 2 days to refine the elixir of immortality. Today was the day to apply to enter the inner sect. Long before Jun Moyo had left, she had already arranged for Jun Haoyin to be an outer disciple. Now he only needed to directly apply to enter the inner sect. To enter the inner sect, one had to go through a test. Through those jade slips, Jun Haoyin knew that once one became an inner disciple of the Langya sacred ground, in addition to the jade token that represented one's identity, the sacred ground would also bestow some yuan tools and elixirs. Young master. Just as Jun Haoyin walked out of the palace, a young girl bowed to Jun Haoyin. This woman's name was Nangongyu. Her cultivation base had already reached the true energy stage 5th level, and she was an inner disciple of the Langya Saint Land. Nangongyu worshipped Jun Moyo and was willing to serve Jun Moyo at the Mo Yushin Peak. Because of Jun Moyo, Nangongyu was also very respectful to Jun Haoyin. Nodding at Nangong Yu, Jun Haoyin asked a little about applying for the inner sect test, and then left the Mo Yushin Peak. Alcade Hall. There were a total of 7 main halls in the Langya Saint Land, and Alcade Hall was in charge of all the chores of the disciples. This included the promotion of some disciples, the construction of the palace by the core disciples, the establishment of the main peak by the true disciples, and so on. Could be said that Alcade Hall had a lot of power. The Alcade Hall Master was also one of the most powerful people in the Langya Saint Land. In the Langya Saint Land, other than the Holy Lord and the Grand Elder, the 7 Hall Masters had the most power. He was a truly powerful figure. At this moment in Alcade Hall, Jun Haoyin was dressed in white. He had a graceful bearing, sharp eyebrows, and bright eyes. He looked extraordinary. Some of the female disciples in the Langya Saint Land looked at Jun Haoyin's handsome face and couldn't help but look at him. In the Langya Saint Land, the day to apply to enter the inner sect was only once a year. Therefore, Alcade Hall was bustling with people coming and going today. After asking about the process in detail, Jun Haoyin didn't try to be special and lined up with the others. After about an hour, it was finally Jun Haoyin's turn. Hello, I would like to apply to become an inner sect disciple. Jun Haoyin walked in front of the person in charge and said. The person in charge of this application was also an inner sect disciple. Hearing this, he glanced at Jun Haoyin and said indifferently, "What's your information?" Jun Haoyin wasn't a disciple of the Langya Saint Land before, so he didn't have the so-called information. Therefore he took out the outer sect disciple certification token that Jun Moyo left him. This outer sect disciple token was enough to replace Jun Haoyin's information. What's your name? Seeing Jun Haoyin take out the token, the person in charge was surprised. To be able to take out such a token, he must have an extraordinary background in the Langya Saint Land. Jun Haoyin. Jun Haoyin said directly and didn't hide anything. However, when Jun Haoyin said his name, the inner sect disciple in charge of the application changed his expression. He glanced at Jun Haoyin's appearance vaguely and then sat down as if nothing had happened. He said indifferently, "Boy, do you think you can become an outer sect disciple of the Langya Saint Land with this token? You actually want to be promoted to an inner sect disciple. What a joke." After hearing this, Jun Haoyin's expression immediately turned cold. This was the token that his sister Jun Moyo gave him, so the inner sect disciple definitely recognized it. With his cheap sister's status as a true disciple, it would be easy for him to enter the inner sect after showing the token. However, at this moment he was actually rejected. Oh, then what do I need to do to be qualified? A cold light flashed in Jun Haoyin's eyes. He already felt that something was wrong, but since it was his first time here, he didn't want to cause trouble. Hence he asked calmly. At least become an outer sect disciple. You're not even an outer sect disciple, so how can you be qualified to become an inner sect disciple? Hearing this, the inner sect disciple immediately sneered. After hearing this, the disciples of the Langya Saint Land in the Alcade Hall were all confused. According to the past practice, the token was enough to represent the identity of an outer sect disciple. As long as one's cultivation was enough, it would be no problem to become an inner sect disciple. However, what was wrong with this person today? He didn't even give him a chance to be tested? Gradually, some people saw the clues and understood that Jun Haoyin must have offended someone. However, in such a situation, in order to successfully enter the inner sect, almost everyone would pay a fortune to avoid disaster. After all, the people of the Alcade Hall were not easy to offend. Most importantly, the inner sect assessment only happened once a year. If he missed it today, Jun Haoyin would have to wait another year. At this moment, Jun Haoyin naturally realized that something was wrong. After he said his name, the other party's attitude was completely different. It was obvious that they were targeting him. As for who was targeting him, Jun Haoyin already had an answer in his heart. Was it Xing Shan or Long Ziyue who instructed you to do this? Jun Haoyin looked at the inner sect disciple and asked slowly. He had just arrived, so other than Xing Shan and Long Ziyue, he couldn't think of anyone who would target him. Chapter 77. Was it Xing Shan or Long Ziyue who ordered you to do this? What did you say? I don't understand what you mean. The inner court disciple who was in charge of the assessment was shocked when he heard that, but he forced himself to remain calm. You'd better be clear about the consequences of your actions. You should know very well what this token represents. The corners of Jun Haoyin's mouth curled into a sneer as he used Jun Moyu's name to oppress this inner disciple. You're just a pawn. If they pursue this matter, they'll definitely abandon you immediately. What nonsense are you talking about? The inner court disciple was flustered when he heard that, and he stammered. Jun Haoyan, I haven't seen you for a while, but your mouth has become more powerful. Just as Jun Haoyan was about to continue speaking, an extremely cold voice suddenly sounded, attracting the attention of everyone in Arcade Hall. Long Ziyue. Jun Haoyan immediately turned around when he heard that voice, and a familiar figure slowly appeared in his field of vision. It was Long Ziyue. At this moment, Long Ziyue was dressed in purple, and her beautiful face coupled with her incomparably cold temperament instantly caused the eyes of all the men in Arcade Hall to light up. It's Senior Sister Long. I didn't expect this person to know Senior Sister Long. Not only that, I think there should be a huge grudge between them. Hearing Long Ziyue's tone, someone in Arcade Hall immediately saw some clues. Jun Haoyan was a little surprised when he saw Long Ziyue. He didn't expect to see Long Ziyue so soon. It seemed that enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. You've changed a lot too. I haven't seen you for a while, and you've actually become a core disciple of the Langya sacred ground. Jun Haoyan slowly said as he looked at Long Ziyue. I think everyone in your Long family will be very pleased to see your current achievements. There was a strong sense of mockery in Jun Haoyan's words. Long Ziyue clearly came to look for trouble, clearly she already knew about the matter of Soaring Dragon City. Therefore there was no need for him to be polite. If it's time to retort, then retort. Jun Haoyan, do you want to die? Hearing this, the smile on Long Ziyue's face instantly turned extremely cold. She looked at Jun Haoyan, her eyes filled with boundless killing intent. He wished he could cut Jun Haoyan into pieces. However, at this moment he was in Arcade Hall in public. Furthermore, there were experts guarding Arcade Hall. It was undoubtedly very difficult to make a move on Jun Haoyan. Why didn't I realize that you were so annoying in the past? In the face of Long Ziyue's fierce killing intent, Jun Haoyan was not moved at all. However, the words that came out of his mouth caused the people in Arcade Hall to feel incomparably shocked. Where did this person come from? He actually dared to speak arrogantly to Senior Sister Long. One must know that in Langya Sacred Land, Long Ziyue was a famous genius disciple. Not long after entering Langya Sacred Land, she made consecutive breakthroughs. Not long ago, she even became a core disciple of Langya Sacred Land. Although it was because of that lord's care. However, it was undeniable that Long Ziyue's talent was considered to be top-notch. In their eyes, Long Ziyue's potential was extremely great. She was an existence that absolutely could not be offended. However, they never thought that this man of unknown origin would actually dare to be so impudent to Long Ziyue. Did he not want to live anymore? Recalling the scene where Jun Haoyan was unable to pass the examination, the people in Arcade Hall immediately resolved their doubts. This young man really offended someone. Although Long Ziyue's actions were somewhat against the rules, it could not be helped that her talent was superb and her background was shocking. In everyone's eyes, Jun Haoyan going against Long Ziyue at this moment was undoubtedly a reckless and foolish action. The inner sect examination was only once a year. If he missed it today, he would have to wait for another year. However, after Long Ziyue heard Jun Haoyan's words, her face completely turned ashen. Jun Haoyan, do you think that you can enter my Langya Sacred Land just by relying on your sharp tongue? Long Ziyue said coldly, relying on some fortuitous encounters, your strength skyrocketed, and you think that you are a genius. Based on your talent, to be able to become an outer sect disciple is already the fortune of 3 lifetimes. You actually dare to have delusions of entering the inner sect. Simply wishful thinking. Long Ziyue's every word was filled with thick sarcasm. She said these words to nothing more than to provoke Jun Haoyan. In the sacred land, no one could casually stir up trouble. Even she did not dare to casually cross the line. If she could kill Jun Haoyan within the rules, that would be the perfect outcome. As early as 3 days ago, Long Ziyue had received news from Tsingshan that Jun Moyo had left Langya Sacred Land. Upon hearing this news, Long Ziyue was instantly agitated. Without Jun Moyo, it would be a piece of cake for her to deal with Jun Haoyan. Oh, so what you mean is that someone with my strength is not worthy to be an inner sect disciple of Langya Sacred Land. Upon hearing this, Jun Haoyan instantly squinted his eyes and said coldly, "That's right. At least you have some self-awareness." Long Ziyue replied coldly. Seeing that Jun Haoyan seemed to be a little angry, Long Ziyue was instantly delighted. As long as Jun Haoyan broke the rules first, even if she killed Jun Haoyan, the sacred land would not blame her. Alright, I hope you remember this. Jun Haoyan's lips curled into a sly smile. Then, under Long Ziyue's dazed gaze, he left Yaoguang Hall just like that. Coward. Seeing that Jun Haoyin had actually left just like that, Long Ziyue immediately scolded in a low voice. She originally thought that Jun Haoyin's strength had skyrocketed, and with Jun Moyo as his backing, he should be very unyielding. However, she did not expect that Jun Haoyin would actually leave with his tail between his legs just like that. This guy is so cowardly. Looks like I have to think of another way to deal with him. Long Ziyue thought to herself. However, today was not without gain. At least Jun Haoyin had lost the opportunity to enter the inner sect. With thousands of thoughts in her mind, Long Ziyue slowly left Yaoguang Hall. On the other side, after leaving Yaoguang Hall, Jun Haoyin did not immediately return to Mou Divine Peak. He would not let go of everything that had happened in Yaoguang Hall just now. However, he also knew that at this moment, Jun Moyo was not in Langya Sacred Land, and Long Ziyue was more powerful than him. Although with his current strength he could easily kill Long Ziyue. This would violate the rules of Langya Sacred Land. There were many strong people in Langya Sacred Land. If he acted rashly, he would definitely be severely punished, and even Jun Moyo would be implicated. Under such circumstances, he had to find a condition that would not violate the rules of the Sacred Land and ruthlessly checkmate Long Ziyue. In addition, after losing the opportunity to enter the inner sect today, Jun Haoyin had an excellent plan in mind. He wanted to create momentum. He wanted to let the higher-ups of Langya Sacred Land see his strength and talent. Chapter 78. On the surface, the sacred ground was a place where one could talk reason and follow the rules. However, all of this was based on absolute strength. Without strength and talent, who would listen to your rules? Who would reason with you? That was just a fool's dream. Therefore, in order to successfully enter the inner sect, Jun Haoyin had to create momentum for himself. Only by displaying his talent and strength would the upper echelons of the sacred ground notice him. Only then would he be qualified to talk to Long Ziyue on an equal footing. As for how to create momentum, Jun Haoyin already had an idea in mind. Previously, Jun Haoyin wanted to get Long Ziyue to say something. Since she said that someone with his strength was not worthy to be an inner sect disciple of Langya Sacred Ground. In that case, those disciples who were weaker than him were even more unworthy. Therefore, Jun Haoyin decided to challenge all the inner sect disciples of Langya Sacred Ground. One person to defeat all the heroes. As long as Jun Haoyin defeated all the inner sect disciples, it would cause a huge uproar in Langya Sacred Ground and turn the world upside down. Jun Haoyin's lips curled into a cold smile. The entire inner sect disciples of Langya Sacred Ground would be defeated by him, an outer sect disciple. That would be an interesting scene. At the thought of this, Jun Haoyin immediately took action. The momentum would start today. He was going to stir up a huge commotion among the inner disciples. Ethereal Peak, the residence of the inner sect disciples of Langya Sacred Ground. Almost all the inner sect disciples were gathered in Ethereal Peak. At this moment, in front of Ethereal Peak, a figure dressed in red was heading towards Ethereal Peak. Wang Yong, an inner sect disciple of Langya Sacred Ground, was at True Energy Realm Level 5. At this moment, Wang Yong had just returned from training outside and was about to return to his residence to rest. "Senior brother, please hold on." At this moment, Jun Haoyin appeared at the entrance of Ethereal Peak in white. "Who are you? What's the matter?" When Wang Yong saw Jun Haoyin calling out to him, he saw that Jun Haoyin was a stranger to him and immediately asked in confusion. Outer Sanctum disciple Jun Haoyin would like to exchange a few moves with senior brother. "I hope senior brother will allow me to do so." Jun Haoyin looked at Wang Yong with a smile on his face. His aura was extraordinary. "Outer sect disciple? I'm sorry, but I just came back from my training. I don't have time." Hearing that Jun Haoyin was an outer court disciple, Wang Yong said impatiently. After that, Wang Yong turned around, not planning to stay any longer. If senior brother wins, these 3,000 primordial stones will be senior brothers. Meanwhile, Jun Haoyin withdrew a pile of spirit stones from his spatial ring and placed them before Wang Yong, and his tone was filled with temptation. "This is 3,000 primeval stones. 3,000 spirit stones, even to an inner court disciple like Wang Yong, it was still a considerable amount of wealth. Therefore, Wang Yong looked at Jun Haoyin as if he was looking at a fool. "Since you are so sincere, senior brother will fulfill your request." As he spoke, Wang Yong was about to activate his true core power. "Wait." Jun Haoyin interrupted Wang Yong's actions and continued, "Senior brother, if you are defeated by me, you have to hand over your inner court disciple token." "What? Hand over my inner court disciple token?" Hearing this, Wang Yong was shocked. The inner court disciple token represented the identity of an inner court disciple. If he handed it over, it meant that he was no longer an inner court disciple. Senior brother, with your strength, are you afraid of a mere outer court disciple like me? Jun Haoyin's tone was slightly provocative. I agree. Seeing that Jun Haoyin's tone was somewhat disdainful, Wang Yong immediately made up his mind and agreed. He did not believe that he would lose to an outer court disciple. Okay then, senior brother, take this. Just as Wang Yong finished speaking, an extremely terrifying aura suddenly exploded from Jun Haoyin's body. Boundless suppressive force immediately swept towards Wang Yong. Thud thud thud. Under this force, Wang Yong's body could not help but take a few steps back. Jun Haoyin had only revealed his aura, and Wang Yong had already been defeated. Your strength. Wang Yong looked at Jun Haoyin with a face full of shock and disbelief. Senior brother, admit it. You have lost. Hand over your inner court disciple token. Looking at the shocked Wang Yong, the corners of Jun Haoyin's mouth curled up slightly. Inner court disciple token. Hearing this, Wang Yong's expression became somewhat hesitant. If he handed over his inner court disciple token, he would lose his authority as an inner court disciple. In the Langya sacred ground, many benefits could only be obtained with the identity token. Could it be that senior brother wants to go back on his word? Seeing Wang Yong's hesitation, Jun Haoyin's face suddenly became cold and his aura exploded. Okay, I'll hand it over to you. Feeling Jun Haoyin's murderous intent, Wang Yong could not help but tremble. He handed over his identity token with some trepidation. However, although he was afraid of Jun Haoyin, a chill flashed in Wang Yong's heart. He decided that when he returned, he would report this to the tribunal council. This person had used his strength to forcefully take someone else's identity token. This was an unforgivable crime. Senior brother, please don't blame me. After taking the identity token, Jun Haoyin smiled and showed his identity token. Junior brother, I am indeed an outer court disciple. Today is the day of the inner court assessment, but the core disciple Long Ziyue said that I would not pass the assessment. She said that someone with my strength is not fit to be an inner court disciple of the Langya sacred ground. I am not convinced, so I want to verify it with my senior brothers. Today I'll borrow your identity token. After this matter is over, I'll definitely return your identity token and apologize to you. I see. Hearing this, Wang Yong was a little depressed. Was he being used as a stepping stone? This guy was planning to step on the faces of all the inner court disciples. However, this guy was too arrogant. Given his strength, he was so confident that he could defeat all the inner court disciples. Just because of Senior Sister Long's words, he planned to challenge all the inner court disciples. He wanted to seize the inner court disciples' identity token so that no one in the entire Langya sacred ground could be an inner court disciple. After keeping Wang Yong's identity token, Jun Haoyin did not stop and went deeper into Ethereal Peak. Outer court disciple Jun Haoyin is here to challenge on the orders of Senior Sister Long Ziyue. Those with insufficient cultivation are not fit to be inner court disciples. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Jun Haoyin decided to use Long Ziyue's name to challenge all the inner court disciples he saw. Inner court disciples could be seen everywhere in Ethereal Peak. Each time he encountered an inner court disciple, Jun Haoyin would challenge him and defeat him in a single move. Each time he challenged, Jun Haoyin would leave a message. Outer court disciple Jun Haoyin is here to challenge an inner court disciple on the orders of Senior Sister Long Ziyue. Those with insufficient cultivation are not fit to be inner court disciples. Outer court disciple Jun Haoyin is here to challenge an inner court disciple on the orders of Senior Sister Long Ziyue. Those with insufficient cultivation are not fit to be inner court disciples. Outer court disciple Jun Haoyin is here to challenge an inner court disciple on the orders of Senior Sister Long Ziyue. Those with insufficient cultivation are not fit to be inner court disciples. Given Jun Haoyin's current strength, ordinary inner court disciples would be defeated the moment he released his aura. Therefore Jun Haoyin was very fast. In less than 2 hours, Jun Haoyin had challenged hundreds of inner court disciples. His strength was too strong, and these inner sect disciples were just going through the motions in front of him. Chapter 79. Among the inner sect disciples, the strongest was only at level 5 True Element Realm. How could they be a match for Jun Haoyin? Just like that, Jun Haoyin swept his way up from Ethereal Peak. He was determined to challenge all the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak. Even though Langya's sacred ground was huge, there were many disciples as well. Before long, the news of Jun Haotian challenging the entire inner sect spread throughout Ethereal Peak. Ever since Langya's sacred ground was established, there had never been an outer sect disciple who dared to challenge all the inner sect disciples. Jun Haotian's actions naturally shocked all the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak. Have you heard? An outer sect disciple is going to challenge all the inner sect disciples. As long as they lose to him, their identity tokens will be taken away. Oh, who's so arrogant? I'm not sure. It seems to be an outer sect disciple who just entered the sacred ground. I know about that. It's said that this lad is going to apply to become an inner sect disciple. However, he seems to have a feud with Long Ziyue and was put in a spot by Long Ziyue. She said that someone with his strength is not qualified to become an inner sect disciple. The reason why he's challenging all the inner sect disciples is to prove that he has the strength to become an inner sect disciple. There's such a thing? That lad is way too confident. However, Long Ziyue has gone overboard. Even core disciples don't have such authority. Isn't that so? If this lad really defeats all the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak, we'll be humiliated. No, if that's the case, that lad will come looking for us sooner or later. Let's go check out his strength first. Wait, I'll go too. Before long, all the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak knew that Jun Haotian was going to challenge all the inner sect disciples. This kind of thing was simply a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. It immediately attracted everyone's attention. At the foot of Ethereal Peak. At this moment, most of the disciples of Ethereal Peak were gathered here. Some outer sect disciples even ran over to watch as though they were joining in the fun. It was a lively scene. However, even if they were to watch, they all stayed 100 meters away. This was because they had discovered the rules of Jun Haotian's challenge. No matter who it was, Jun Haotian would directly issue a challenge to anyone within 100 meters. By now, Jun Haotian had already defeated more than 200 inner disciples. He didn't have the patience to exchange pleasantries with them one by one. That would be a waste of time. Although it was only a few sentences, it was enough for him to defeat a few inner sect disciples. Therefore, Jun Haotian made a new challenge plan. As long as there were people within 100 meters, he would directly challenge them. Senior brother, you've lost. Hand over your command medallion. Jun Haotian smiled as he looked at the inner disciple who was sent flying a few meters away by his punch. Currently, this inner disciple in front of him was the strongest one among all the inner disciples he had defeated. You're very strong. The inner sect disciple took a deep look at Jun Haotian, then handed the identity token to Jun Haotian, and retreated with a dejected expression. As one of the best among the inner disciples, he had always been conceited. However, today he had never expected that he would be defeated by this outer disciple in front of him in one move. This really made him feel dejected. 100 meters away, all the inner disciples who were watching were shocked when they saw that the inner disciple who was present was defeated. The inner disciple who had just been defeated was a genius who had entered the inner disciple's soaring dragon roll. Although he was only ranked 100th on the soaring dragon roll. After that, Jun Haotian continued to look for people to challenge. However, not long after, he realized that these inner disciples would actually take the initiative to approach him, waiting for him to challenge them. As Jun Haotian continued to challenge people, his reputation grew. Gradually, some inner disciples started to take the initiative to challenge Jun Haotian. As long as they defeated Jun Haotian, all of Jun Haotian's reputation would be transferred to them. Those who were able to enter the Holy Land and successfully enter the inner disciples were all talented and proud people. They didn't want to be famous and respected by others. However, it was a pity that the reality was cruel. None of the inner disciples who took the initiative to challenge Jun Haotian could withstand more than 2 moves from Jun Haotian. Soon a day had passed. On this day, Jun Haotian had been challenging people from the bottom of the peak to the peak. He didn't know how many inner disciples he had defeated. At that moment, his reputation among the inner disciples had reached a stage where everyone knew him. There are still so many? Seeing that there were dozens of inner disciples in front of him who were eager to challenge him, Jun Haotian couldn't help but frown. After a day of fighting, he was a little tired and wanted to quickly finish the fight and take a rest. He glanced at the dozens of inner disciples in front of him and immediately realized that their cultivation levels were quite high. He reckoned that they were all geniuses on the inner disciples' soaring dragon roll and were the ones who were ranked at the top. It's too slow to take them one by one. Jun Haotian thought to himself. There were at least 10,000 inner disciples in the Langya sacred ground. If he were to fight them one by one, how long would it take? After thinking for a while, Jun Haotian had an idea. He said to the dozens of inner disciples, "All of you come at me together." Silence. The moment Jun Haoyan said that, the entire place fell into silence. Then, when everyone came to their senses, there was only extreme anger in their minds. Jun Haoyan, you're indeed strong, but you're too arrogant. How dare you challenge all of us by yourself? You're courting death. Ethereal Peak is full of hidden talents. You're not a match for us alone. All the inner disciples scoffed at Jun Haoyan's arrogant words. They weren't fools and naturally had their own considerations. If they attacked together, so what if they defeated Jun Haoyan? Even if they won, they would be bullying him with numbers and it would be an unfair victory. If they lost, they would be too ashamed to show their faces. Instead of that, it was better to take them one by one. At least they could save some face. However, Jun Haoyan didn't care about their considerations. Seeing that no one made a move, he took a step forward and circulated the divine elephant overpowering force to the maximum. In an instant, an incomparably strong suppressive force enveloped everyone present. Jun Haoyan's move directly pulled everyone into the battle. Jun Haoyan, how dare you? Jun Haoyan, how dare you? Seeing this scene, the inner court disciples who were suddenly pulled into the battle were all shocked and angry. Everyone, let's begin. Jun Haoyan said slowly, ignoring the words of the inner disciples. Since he had already planned to create momentum and show his talent and strength to the upper echelons of the Langya sacred ground, why should he hide it? Chapter 80. Since he had made up his mind to show off his cultivation level and talent, there was no need to be secretive. What he wanted was to shock everyone. He wanted to shock the entire Langya sacred ground. After making up his mind, Jun Haoyan smiled and took another step forward. His white robe was magnificent, and his aura was overwhelming. Everyone was stunned. In the next moment, Jun Haoyan's cultivation level of LV6 True Element Realm exploded. At the same time, countless Archean mammoth shadows appeared behind him. It was as if thousands of beasts were attacking. Roar, roar, roar. Countless Archean mammoths roared, and a powerful suppressive force swept out in all directions. That was not enough. In the next moment, Jun Haoyan activated the Celestial Devil technique. Above his head, the blood sea rose and 12 horrifying demonic gods appeared gradually. With the power of the demonic gods, Jun Haoyan's aura became several times stronger. At that moment, Jun Haoyan had only released his aura, and he had yet to make a move. But with just these, the inner sect disciples that he had dragged into the battlefield were already on the verge of defeat. Jun Haoyan exuded an incomparably vast and terrifying aura that swept towards the surrounding inner court disciples. Poof, poof, poof. The dozens of inner disciples who were standing at the front were the first to bear the pressure. They immediately felt their chi and blood surging, and their breathing almost stopped. In the next moment, they felt something sweet in their throats, and blood spurted out from their mouths. In the face of Jun Haoyan's aura, it was as if they were facing a deity. They could not stop it, and their bodies were on the verge of collapsing. Rumble. Countless Archean mammoths roared into the sky, making Jun Haoyan look like a deity who had descended to the world. All the inner disciples were shocked. Under Jun Haoyan's aura, they realized that they had been defeated before they could even touch Jun Haoyan's body. Jun Haoyan controlled his aura, and with a confident smile on his face, he took another step forward. Boom. As his aura approached, all the inner disciples were forced to take a few steps back. Some of the inner disciples could not hold it in any longer and spat out another mouthful of blood. You have lost. Jun Haoyan's majestic voice boomed in the air. At the same time, the terrifying aura that permeated the void instantly retreated into Jun Haoyan's body and disappeared. Bang bang bang. Feeling the pressure on their bodies disappear, all the inner court disciples relaxed and fell to the ground, paralyzed. All right, hand over your identity badges. Jun Haoyan said with a smile as he looked at the group of inner disciples who had fallen to the ground. Hearing Jun Haoyan's words, the inner disciples began to panic. The scene that Jun Haoyan had just shown them was too horrifying. The inner disciples looked at each other and hesitated. None of them handed over their identity tokens. Looks like you're still not convinced. If that's the case. Seeing that no one was willing to hand over their identity tokens, Jun Haoyan's smiling face turned cold and he said coldly. At the same time, the aura that he had just retracted into his body showed signs of surging out again. No, we're convinced. We're willing to hand over our identity tokens. Yes, we're willing to hand over our identity tokens. Seeing that Jun Haoyan was about to go berserk again, the inner disciples who had just heaved a sigh of relief panicked again. They immediately handed over their identity tokens to Jun Haoyan, fearing that they would have to go through the same thing again. Senior brothers, I'm sorry for offending you just now. I'm here to test the inner disciple's strength under Senior Sister Long's order. You've lost to me. According to Senior Sister Long, you don't deserve to be inner disciples at all. I'll give these identity tokens to Senior Sister Long one by one. Senior brothers, you can collect them from Senior Sister Long after this. After taking away all the identity tokens of the inner disciples who had lost, Jun Haoyin put on a gentle smile on his face again. As he spoke, Jun Haoyin did not forget to emphasize Long Ziyue's words. Jun Haoyin had already made up his mind. This time he was going to drag Long Ziyue down with him. With that, Jun Haoyin left the place slowly and walked towards the other side of Ethereal Peak. He wanted to continue the challenge. Including these people just now, how many inner disciples has he defeated? Looking at Jun Haoyin's back view, many inner disciples smiled bitterly. About 600 to 700 people. 600 to 700 people. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure. I was the first to be defeated by him. Since then I've been following him. The person who spoke was Wang Yong. At this moment, there was no dejection on his face because he had lost to Jun Haoyin. Instead, there was only excitement. So many experts had been defeated by Jun Haoyin, so what did a nameless junior like him amount to? Moreover, he was the first to be defeated by Jun Haoyin. At the thought of this, Wang Yong felt an inexplicable sense of pride. He had finally become number one for once. The ones who suffered the greatest blow were the dozens of disciples on the soaring dragon roll who had been defeated by Jun Haoyin with his aura. They had always prided themselves on being peerless geniuses. However, today they had lost all their dignity. Jun Haoyin had not even made a move. He had only used his aura to beat them until they were scared out of their wits. How can this kid be just an outer disciple when he can emit such an aura? It's all Long Ziyue's fault. If she had not interfered, this kid would not have challenged us. That's right. Long Ziyue has gone too far. Isn't he just a core disciple? Where did she get the authority to stop others from entering the inner gate? If this kid is not worthy of being an inner disciple with his strength, then we are even more unworthy. As they spoke, the inner disciples who had been defeated gradually resented Long Ziyue. It was all because of Long Ziyue that Jun Haoyin had challenged the inner disciples so crazily. It was also because of this that they had suffered such great humiliation. On the other side, Jun Haoyin's challenges were still ongoing. As long as Jun Haoyin met an inner disciple, he would issue a challenge. Get out of the way. The law enforcement team is on duty. At this moment, a few tyrannical voices rang out from afar, drawing closer and closer. The inner disciples looked over and saw several disciples of the Langia sacred ground in black robes. They looked gloomy as they walked over. When they saw the black-robed disciples, the inner disciples were shocked and involuntarily made way for them. Law enforcement disciples. These black-robed disciples were the law enforcement disciples of Kaiyang Hall. In the Langia sacred ground, Kaiyang Hall had a lot of power and controlled the rules of the sacred ground. Even if it was a pro-disciple or a core disciple, as long as they violated the rules, Kaiyang Hall could arrest them directly. In the sacred ground, Kaiyang Hall had the most power, other than the Grand Elder and the Holy Leader. Chapter 81. It's over. Seeing that the law enforcement disciple had actually appeared, everyone thought that this matter was over. The law enforcement disciples would definitely take Jun Haoyin to Kaiyang Hall for punishment. There were inner disciples and pro-disciples among the law enforcement disciples. Only the inner disciples were there this time. However, it was undeniable that those who could enter the law enforcement team were definitely the top inner disciples. They were stronger than the top few on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard. Otherwise, how could they convince the public and enforce the law? In the eyes of all the inner disciples, no matter how strong and arrogant Jun Haoyin was, he would not dare to attack the law enforcement disciples. After all, the law enforcement disciples were from Kaiyang Hall. Once they were beaten, it would be a big problem. As the place where the law was enforced, the dignity of Kaiyang Hall could not be violated. Little brother, I don't care who you are. Stop it right now. Seeing Jun Haoyin casually attacking others, the law enforcement disciples quickly walked up to Jun Haoyin and said coldly, "Law enforcement disciples." When Jun Haoyin saw that they were wearing black robes, he immediately knew their identities. He had noticed the power of the law enforcement disciples on the jade slips. You are also inner disciples, right? Looking at the law enforcement disciples, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change as he suddenly spoke. That's right. The leader of the law enforcement disciples replied. Alright then, since you're also inner disciples, then take a move from me. As soon as he finished speaking, Jun Haoyin gathered his genuine origin energy and threw a punch at the law enforcement disciples. Oh no! Feeling Jun Haoyin's aura, the group of law enforcement disciples was shocked. A bad feeling rose from the bottom of their hearts. Boom! Jun Haoyin clenched his fist, and an incomparably powerful aura suddenly gushed out from his body. In an instant, his true essence went berserk and turned into a primordial chi storm that swept towards the few law enforcement disciples. Rumble! The extremely terrifying genuine origin energy storm was like thousands of soldiers and horses galloping. It was unstoppable. Although these law enforcement disciples were powerful, they were only at the 6th level of the true energy realm. How could they be a match for Jun Haoyin, who was invincible in the true energy realm? In the blink of an eye, all the law enforcement disciples fell to the ground. Their faces were pale as they looked at Jun Haoyin in horror. As for the surrounding inner court disciples, they were already shocked to the extreme. That fellow didn't just make a move on the law enforcers. Furthermore, he had seriously injured them. This was the rhythm of piercing through the heavens. How dare you? Do you know that we are Kaiyang Hall's law enforcement disciples? After a few breaths, the leading law enforcement disciple finally reacted. He glared at Jun Haoyin and scolded loudly. Although Jun Haoyin's strength was formidable, he was aware of it and wasn't afraid. As law enforcement disciples, their status in the Holy Land was extremely special. No one was willing to offend them. No matter who it was, they would not have a good time in the hands of a law enforcement disciple. Senior brothers, please don't blame me. I'm just following the orders of senior sister Long Ziyue. Those who are not strong enough are not worthy of being an inner court disciple. Jun Haoyin restrained his aura and said with a smile. Since you have lost the qualification to be an inner court disciple of the Langya Holy Land. Senior brothers, please hand over your identity tokens. Jun Haoyin said to the law enforcement disciples. At the same time, the terrifying aura that had disappeared from his body slowly surged out again. Core disciple Long Ziyue. Long Ziyue doesn't have the right to ask us to hand over our identity tokens. Boy, I advise you to stop. You should know the consequences of offending the Kaiyang Hall. When the law enforcement disciples heard Jun Haoyin mention Long Ziyue, they were stunned. Even if Long Ziyue was a core disciple, she had no right to deprive them of their identity as inner court disciples. Who did she think she was? The Hall Master of Kaiyang Hall? So, you are not willing to hand over your identity tokens. Hearing that, Jun Haoyin's face turned cold. Suddenly, the deafening roar of an immemorial mammoth came out from his body. The immemorial mammoth's power that burst out from Jun Haoyin's body made him look like a ferocious beast. At this moment, the terrifying true origin in Jun Haoyin's body was rolling. It was as if he had transformed into a demon god that suppressed the heavens. Feeling Jun Haoyin's aura, all the law enforcement disciples felt their hair stand on end and their bodies turn cold. They could feel a boundless killing intent from Jun Haoyin. It seemed that if they did not hand over their identity tokens, Jun Haoyin would really kill them. Well, since you want our identity tokens so much, I'll give them to you. With a pale face, the leader of the law enforcement disciples stepped forward slowly and handed his identity token to Jun Haoyin. He knew that he was no match for this person. A wise man submits to circumstances. There was no need for him to lose his life for an identity token. I hope you won't regret it when the time comes. The leader of the law enforcement disciples stared at Jun Haoyin for a moment and said coldly. After he handed over his identity token, he signaled the others to hand over their identity tokens as well. Although they were extremely unwilling, they had no choice but to hand over their identity tokens. After Jun Haoyin took all the identity tokens, he looked at the leader of the law enforcement disciples and said word by word, "Who dares to refute Senior Long Ziyue's words? She said that those who are weaker than me are not worthy of being inner court disciples. Since you are weaker than me, you are naturally not worthy." At this moment, Jun Haoyin pushed Long Ziyue out again. Jun Haoyin's goal was simple. He wanted to drag Long Ziyue down with him. Good. Long Ziyue, how dare a mere core disciple be so arrogant? The leader of the law enforcement disciples said good 3 times in a row, then snorted coldly and left Ethereal Peak with the rest of the law enforcement disciples. He had already decided in his heart that he must report this to the elders of Kaiyang Hall and even to the Hall Master. Could a core disciple be so arrogant? Thinking of the humiliation they had just suffered, the law enforcement disciple could not help but feel aggrieved. As a law enforcement disciple, he had never suffered such humiliation. At this moment, the surrounding inner sect disciples were all dumbfounded by what they had just witnessed. Jun Haoyin was so bold. He was still so arrogant in the face of the arrogant law enforcement disciples and even took their identity tokens. He was really going to poke a hole in the sky. Ignoring the gazes of the surrounding people, Jun Haoyan looked at the higher part of Ethereal Peak. The challenges had to continue. After that, almost all the inner court disciples in Ethereal Peak were challenged by Jun Haoyan. After the challenge, Jun Haoyan would drag Long Ziyue down with him without exception. As an inner court disciple, how could these inner court disciples be willing to let Jun Haoyan forcefully take away their identity token like this? Under Jun Haoyan's vigorous promotion, Long Ziyue's fame reached a peak among the inner court disciples. Chapter 82. Kaiyang Hall. Elder, you have to uphold justice for us. At that moment, the several law enforcement disciples that were defeated by Jun Haoyan were kneeling on the ground and crying out loud. Their appearances were as miserable as it could be. What's going on? In the main hall, an elder in a luxurious robe was sitting on top with a dignified face. He was Elder Tseng Shishing of Kaiyang Hall. His cultivation was amazing and he had great power. He was highly respected in Kaiyang Hall. Ordinary inner disciples and elders could not be compared to him. Elder Tseng, it's like this? Hearing Tseng Shishing's words, the leader of the enforcement disciples recounted everything that happened in Ethereal Peak with great exaggeration. Now, that person has defeated about 70% of the inner disciples and snatched their identity badges forcefully. He even claimed that he was following orders. How dare you? Acting under orders? Whose orders? Hearing this, Tseng Shishing couldn't help but fly into a rage and berate loudly. In the next moment, his aura exploded like a river bursting its banks. Could shake a mountain. A mere core disciple dared to snatch the identity badges of inner disciples. It was outrageous. No matter who it was, he would not tolerate it. It's the core disciple Long Ziyue. Seeing the elder angry, the leader of the enforcement disciples was overjoyed. Long Ziyue, it's her. Hearing Long Ziyue's name, Tseng Shishing was stunned. He naturally knew Long Ziyue, the core disciple, because he had a close relationship with the pro-disciple Tsing Shan. He had received secret news that Tsing Shan seemed to be pursuing Long Ziyue. Could it be that Tsing Shan was behind this? This thought flashed through Tseng Shishing's mind. But then he shook his head. Tsing Shan should not be so stupid. Although the pro-disciples were the strongest in the sacred ground. But without the outer and inner disciples as the foundation, how could there be any pro-disciples in the future? Which pro-disciple did not rise from the inner disciples step by step? No matter how stupid Tsing Shan was, he would not dare to offend the public like this. No matter what, we must get to the bottom of this matter. First, send someone to arrest the troublemakers at Ethereal Peak. After saying that, Tseng Shishing directly left Mizar Hall. After all, Tsing Shan was a true disciple. It was not appropriate for him to ask someone to arrest his woman directly. It was better for him to go to the Purple Moon Palace and interrogate him face to face. At the same time, Jun Haoyan was like an invincible god of war as he challenged the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak in a frenzy. This incident finally spread from the inner sanctum to the entire Langya sacred land. In the Langya holy ground, the 7 main halls were Dubhe Hall, Merak Hall, Phekta Hall, Migraz Hall, Aliath Hall, Kaiyang Hall, and Alkade Hall. There were inner sect disciples in charge of these 7 palaces. Since Jun Haoyan had challenged the entire Ethereal Peak, he naturally challenged them as well. Therefore, Jun Haoyan had offended almost all 7 highnesses of the Langya Holy Land. Everyone was infuriated. None of those who were defeated by Jun Haoyan would take it lying down. It did not matter if they were defeated. It was not as if they had not been defeated before. However, what right did he have to take away their identity badges? Losing their identity badges was equivalent to losing their identity as an inner sect disciple. Are you trying to expel me from the Langya Holy Land and humiliate me? All the inner sect disciples could not take this lying down. So what if you have the backing of core disciple Long Ziyue? Now you have offended the entire Ethereal Peak and all the inner sect disciples of the Langya Holy Land. After this incident spread, the 7 main halls of the Langya Holy Land were in an uproar. Dubhe Hall. Elder, you have to uphold justice for us. That core disciple Long Ziyue sent someone to test our cultivation and took away our identity badges after we were defeated. Is there any justice in this world? Can core disciples do whatever they want? We are not convinced. Merak Hall. Master, do you know how ruthless that guy was? I was almost killed by him. We almost didn't get to see you again. We can't just let this go, especially the mastermind Long Ziyue. That guy is too arrogant. He even beat up the law enforcement disciples. He hasn't even stopped yet. Tianji Hall. What a bully, what a bully. Who does he think the disciples of Tianji Hall are? Cats and dogs that he can bully as he pleases? Long Ziyue, right? Core disciple, right? I'll settle the score with her personally. The elder of Migra's hall was known for his bad temper in the Langya Holy Land. After hearing the complaints of his disciples, he left the hall decisively and went straight to the core disciples' residence. Alcade Hall. What? Test cultivation? Those with insufficient cultivation are not fit to be inner sect disciples. He even took away your identity badges? Since when did a core disciple become so arrogant? An elder heard the complaints of the inner sect disciples and immediately scolded. Seeing that the elder was angry, the disciples below were all excited. With the elder taking action, there would be a good show to watch. When the elder took action, not to mention a core disciple, even a legacy disciple would have to retreat. Yuheng Hall. An outer sect disciple fought alone and overturned the entire ethereal peak. There is such a person in the outer sect, such a genius. I want to see it. It would be great if he could enter Yuheng Hall. Of course, some of the elders were not angry when they heard the complaints of their disciples. Instead, they focused their attention on the monster who overturned the entire ethereal peak. A mere outer sect disciple had the strength to overturn the entire ethereal peak. Even a legacy disciple would not be able to achieve such combat strength. However, an outer sect disciple who was not even an inner sect disciple did it. This discovery immediately piqued his interest. But no matter what, he must find the mastermind behind this matter, Long Ziyue. Just like that, the 7 elders of the Langya sacred ground made a decision at the same time. They all sent a few core disciples to subdue Jun Haotian, while they all headed to the nuclear peak. They wanted to see what Long Ziyue was up to. Nuclear Peak, Purple Moon Hall. Long Ziyue sat leisurely in the hall. She picked up a teacup and took a sip, exuding an aura of nobility. She was a little disappointed and despised Jun Haotian. It had been so long and Jun Haotian still had not come to look for her. In her opinion, Jun Haotian must have backed down. She had always hated this kind of man. Big brother Ao Tian is the best. Big brother Ao Tian is always so confident. He never backs down. Only such an indomitable man was worthy of Long Ziyue. Thinking of Jun Haotian's proud figure, Long Ziyue could not help but be infatuated. Brother Haotian, I will definitely come and meet you after I settle Jun Haotian. I miss you so much. Chapter 83. Boom. Just as Long Ziyue was immersed in her beautiful memories, a thunderous roar resounded in the Heyuan Peak. Damn it. All of a sudden, the beautiful things in Long Ziyue's mind were interrupted, and her face turned ashen. Who dares to be so presumptuous in the Heyuan Hall? Long Ziyue, get out here. Who gave you the guts to send someone to check my disciples' cultivation? Get out here. If I don't see you in 10 breaths, I'll destroy your Purple Moon Hall. Just as the core disciples on the Heyuan Peak were puzzled by the sudden roar, a thunderous roar resounded in the void. In the void, the 7 hall elders stood on top of it, and a vast and boundless aura suddenly shrouded the entire Heyuan Peak. The sky changed color, and endless thunder rumbled in the sky. Every single one of them had bolts of lightning exploding on their bodies, and it represented their supreme cultivations at the Imperial Dao realm. At this moment, the 7 hall elders were floating in the air above Heyuan Peak. That incomparably violent aura made the entire void seem like it was about to shatter. What's going on? All the core disciples on Heyuan Peak stared blankly at the 7 figures in the sky. Who were they calling for? Long Ziyue. Oh my god, what did Long Ziyue do to provoke the 7 hall elders to gather at Heyuan Peak? The 7 elders came in a menacing manner, as if they were going to destroy the entire peak. When Long Ziyue heard the roar in the sky, she did not dare to delay and quickly rushed over. Disciple Long Ziyue greets the hall elders. Long Ziyue's attitude was very humble when she arrived in front of the 7 hall elders. She could tell that the 7 hall elders were not here with good intentions. She was puzzled. She did not seem to have offended any of them. May I know why the hall elders have summoned me? Long Ziyue asked humbly. She was very nervous. The people in front of her were not ordinary elders. They were elders from the 7 halls, and every single one of them possessed a cultivation at the Imperial Dao realm. Their strengths were so formidable that he couldn't afford to offend them at all. Moreover, behind these elders stood the various palace masters. You're Long Ziyue? How impressive. When the Migra's hall elder saw Long Ziyue, he sneered, his tone thick with ridicule. Yes. How can we old fellows be worthy of your personal visit? You can even strip me of my status as an inner disciple? I think I should just give up my position as the disciplinary elder to you. After Long Ziyue appeared, the elders began to speak. Their auras were overflowing and incomparably powerful. However, although they were extremely dissatisfied with Long Ziyue, none of the elders took action directly. These elders held important positions in the 7 great palaces. Naturally, they were not simple characters. They also knew that Long Ziyue seemed to have that existence behind her, so they only mocked her and did not attack her directly. However, after hearing the words of the 7 elders, Long Ziyue was completely stunned. Strip me of my status as an inner sect disciple? I didn't do that. At that moment, Long Ziyue was slightly flustered. However, she had a good temperament and calmed herself down very quickly. The next moment, she bowed to the 7 elders and said, "Elders, I'm very confused about what you've said. I think there should be some misunderstanding." He was extremely confused in her heart. Judging from the aggressive manner of these elders, something big must have happened. But what could have happened to make these elders so angry? Long Ziyue, you have the guts to do it but don't have the guts to admit it? You want to send us away with a mere misunderstanding? Hearing that, the Kaiyang Hall elder could not help but speak. He felt that Long Ziyue was trying to shirk the responsibility. Now that the identity badges of thousands of inner sect disciples in the entire ethereal peak have been taken away by someone, I want to ask, who gave you the authority to take away their identity as inner sect disciples? You're just a core disciple, how dare you be so presumptuous? Now that the entire ethereal peak is in a mess, tell me, how do you want to solve this matter? Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you have someone behind you. Let me tell you, us old bones are not that easy to bully. The more the 7 elders spoke, the angrier they got. Their disciples were already bullied to this extent. They were already giving face to that existence by not taking action directly. Long Ziyue, on the other hand, had a rough idea of what had happened after listening to the 7 elders' conversation. After listening to them, she was completely dumbfounded. Sending someone to check the cultivation level of the inner sect disciples? Confiscating the identity badges of those whose cultivation level was not high enough and taking away their identity as inner sect disciples? When did I do such a thing? Long Ziyue was extremely dumbfounded. Elders, I'm afraid there's a huge misunderstanding right now. I definitely did not do such a daring thing. Elders, please investigate this matter thoroughly. Therefore, Long Ziyue cupped her fists and bowed to the 7 elders to assure them. Her tone was resolute. Fufu, you're still trying to quibble? These were all told to me personally by my disciples. Did you instruct an outer sect disciple named Jun Haoyin to challenge all the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak? Let me tell you, you'll never be able to escape from this responsibility. Seeing that Long Ziyue actually denied it, the 7 elders were instantly enraged. Jun Haoyin. Upon hearing Jun Haoyin's name, Long Ziyue instantly understood what was going on. Jun Haoyin must have used her name to challenge all the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak. Jun Haoyin was trying to push the blame onto her. At the thought of this, Long Ziyue could not help but fly into a rage. Initially, she had also guessed that Jun Haoyin would choose to take revenge. However, Long Ziyue had not expected that Jun Haoyin would use such a method. The moment he was accused of being stripped of his identity as an inner sect disciple. Even if she was a core disciple, she would only have a dead end. If he offended 1 or 2 inner sect disciples, it would not matter. However, if he offended all the inner sect disciples like Jun Haoyin, who could withstand that? This was public anger. Quibble. Continue to quibble. Seeing that Long Ziyue was suddenly silent, the Migres Hall elder said coldly. Right from the beginning, he was certain that Long Ziyue was the mastermind behind this matter. Otherwise, how could a mere outer sect disciple have the guts to do so? In particular, every time Jun Haoyin defeated an opponent, he would mention Long Ziyue's name. Therefore, when every inner sect disciple complained, they would mention Long Ziyue's name. By now, Long Ziyue could no longer defend herself and could not clear her name even if she jumped into the Yellow River. Chapter 84. Elders, I know that no matter how I explain myself, you won't spill blood. I beg you to give me a chance. I want to confront Jun Haoyin personally. Seeing that none of the 7 palace elders believed her, Long Ziyue couldn't help but feel anxious. She then pleaded with the 7 palace elders. At this moment, Long Ziyue's attitude was extremely humble. She was helpless. The 7 palace elders in front of her were all from the 7 palaces. They had great power in the sacred ground. She offended all of them. Even if that person came forward, he wouldn't be able to protect her. She had to handle this matter carefully. If she was careless, she would be facing a bottomless abyss. At the same time, Long Ziyue felt a chill in her heart. No, it was not targeted at these palace elders. It was Jun Haoyan. She thought that Jun Haoyan had backed off and didn't do anything. But he made such a big move and directly attracted the 7 palace elders and all the inner sect disciples to deal with her. Now that he was so ruthless, Long Ziyue couldn't help but feel scared. After hearing Long Ziyue's words, the 7 palace elders frowned. Seeing that Long Ziyue was so determined, they also felt that something was wrong. After a moment of silence, the 7 palace elders made a decision. They agreed to let Long Ziyue confront Jun Haoyan face to face. Anyway, with Long Ziyue's strength, she wouldn't be able to escape from their hands. If it was proven that this matter had nothing to do with her, she would be forgiven. But if this matter was really done by Long Ziyue, no matter who was behind her. If the 7 palaces joined hands and still couldn't punish a mere core disciple, then what was the use of their positions as palace elders? They might as well give up their positions to a better person. With this thought in mind, the 7 palace elders all nodded in agreement and said, "All right, we'll give you a chance to confront that outer sect disciple face to face." Then the 7 palace elders led Long Ziyue straight to Ethereal Peak. On the Ethereal Peak. At this moment, Jun Haoyan stood alone. His posture was tall and his white robes were peerless. A large number of disciples from the Langia sacred ground had gathered around him. Even many outer sect disciples had sneaked into the misty peak just to catch a glimpse of Jun Haoyan's peerless charm. Although a large number of people had gathered, no one dared to get within 100 meters of Jun Haoyan. This was because once they got within 100 meters of Jun Haoyan, they would be directly challenged by Jun Haoyan. At this moment, all the inner disciples on the misty peak had also witnessed Jun Haoyan's strength. None of them went up to fight with Jun Haoyan. They deeply understood the gap between themselves and Jun Haoyan. If they went up, they would only be humiliating themselves. Bang! In the arena, Jun Haoyan defeated another inner disciple with a single punch. What was worth mentioning was that this inner disciple was the strongest inner disciple that Jun Haoyan had ever seen. He actually managed to take 3 moves from Jun Haoyan. You're not bad. Jun Haoyan looked at this inner disciple with a hint of admiration on his face. However, the inner disciple's face turned green and red when he heard Jun Haoyan's words of praise. His expression was extremely ugly, as though he had been greatly insulted. I didn't expect that even senior brother Wu Bufan could only take 3 moves from Jun Haoyan. Yeah, Jun Haoyan is really too strong. Senior brother Wu Bufan is the #1 genius on the Soaring Dragon roll. Even the strongest senior brother Wu Bufan was defeated. Who else can go against Jun Haoyan now? Seeing this scene, the surrounding disciples from the Langia sacred ground exclaimed. Even the #1 disciple in the inner sect was defeated by Jun Haoyan. According to what Jun Haoyan said, those who were defeated by him were not fit to be inner sect disciples. Langia sacred ground's inner sect disciples could all be dismissed now. Senior brother, I'll be taking the token. In the arena, Jun Haoyan walked slowly to the severely injured Wu Bufan and took away his identity token. Seeing this scene, Wu Bufan was instantly enraged and he spat out a mouthful of blood. It's finally over. After taking away Wu Bufan's identity token, Jun Haoyan muttered murmur. At this moment, in the center of the crowd, Jun Haoyan had already reached the highest point of Ethereal Peak. Now, the strongest disciple in Ethereal Peak had been defeated by him. No one in the inner sect was a match for him. Even so, from the beginning till now, Jun Haoyan had not even used 1/10 of his strength. It was not that the inner sect disciples of Langia sacred ground were too weak. It was that Jun Haoyan's current strength was too strong for the inner sect disciples. At this moment he was even confident to fight against an elite of Yuan Dan's level. Moreover, these inner sect disciples were at most true energy realm level 6. It's time to leave. Since there was no one left to challenge, Jun Haoyan was ready to leave Ethereal Peak. Junior brother, please return all the identity tokens in your hands. At this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded and attracted everyone's attention. Everyone was shocked. At this moment, there was still someone who dared to challenge this fiend. Was his head kicked by a donkey? Hence, everyone looked towards the source of the voice. In the void, 7 figures were suspended in the air and their auras were terrifying. The 7 men were dressed in purple robes and had long swords in their arms. The aura on their bodies was extremely cold. The 7 of them stood in the void and formed the Big Dipper. Terrifying true energy vibrated around them and they looked extremely powerful. The cultivation of the 7 of them was at true energy realm level 8. They are the Chongyang 7. They are the 7 core disciples of Chongyang Palace. The 7 of them have joined forces and their Chongyang sword formation has reached perfection. They are known as the Chongyang 7. Even the core disciples are alarmed. It seems like someone has already reported this to the elders. It's time for this matter to come to an end. After the crowd saw the identities of the 7 people, they started to whisper among themselves. The core disciples were all at true energy realm level 8. Not only were they extremely powerful, but they also had yuan weapons to protect themselves. Whether it was in terms of status or other aspects, they were several times stronger than the inner sect disciples. Core disciples. At the same time, Jun Haoyan also noticed the 7 people in the void. After seeing their identities he said mockingly, "You are core disciples. Do you dare to accept my challenge? How dare you? Jun Haoyan, you are just an outer sect disciple. How dare you offend your superiors? Hurry up and hand over your identity token. Come with me to Kaiyang Hall to confess your sins." Seeing Jun Haoyan's indifference, one of the Chongyang 7 took a step forward and shouted sternly. The other 7 sons also abruptly released their auras towards Jun Haoyan. "If you want the identity token, it's very simple. That is, defeat me." Ignoring the pressure coming from the 7 sons of Chongyang, Jun Haoyan gave a faint smile. Chapter 85. Senior brother, since this junior brother is so insistent, let's fight with him. Just as Jun Haoyan finished speaking, another sword son of the Chongyang 7 stood out. He looked at Jun Haoyan with a strong desire to fight. The other sword sons also looked at Jun Haoyan with a strange look. At this moment, Jun Haoyan's reputation had shocked the entire Langya sanctuary. His reputation was even comparable to some of the pro-disciples. He single-handedly defeated Ethereal Peak, the number 1 in the inner sect. Since the establishment of Langya sanctuary for hundreds of thousands of years, nothing like this had ever happened. Now, someone had done it, and in such a domineering and arrogant manner. No matter what punishment Jun Haoyan would receive this time, Jun Haoyan's name would definitely be recorded in the history of Langya Sanctuary. Thinking of this, the Chongyang 7 looked at Jun Haoyan with excitement in their eyes. With Jun Haoyan's current reputation in Langya Sanctuary, if someone suddenly defeated him, it would be equivalent to stepping on Jun Haoyan's head and replacing his previous achievements. Under such temptation, the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect were somewhat unable to resist. Clang. In the next moment, without any hesitation, the Chongyang 7 struck. Since they were known as the Chongyang 7, they were good at the Chongyang sword formation and naturally used sword techniques. Extremely sharp sword radiance shot out directly. Each sword radiance was hundreds of feet long. Fortunately, Ethereal Peak was extremely huge and was protected by the origin formation. Otherwise, under the destruction of the sword radiance, the entire Ethereal Peak would have been destroyed. Look, the Chongyang 7 actually attacked Jun Haoyan. This is the Chongyang sword formation, the ultimate skill of the Chongyang 7. Rumor has it that they once used the Chongyang sword formation to kill a true energy realm LV-10 demon. When the Chongyang 7 attack, even an ordinary pro-disciple would not dare to underestimate them. Seeing this scene, the countless spectating disciples all let out exclamations of surprise. They did not expect that the high and mighty core disciples would actually attack Jun Haoyan, an outer disciple. Moreover, it was 7 against 1. This was especially true for the swords in the hands of the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect. They were all low-grade true weapons and they all came from the same source. Now that they were working together, they were extremely powerful. Instantly, Ethereal Peak was filled with sword beams. Very good, the 7 sons of Chongyang, right? I want to see what a core disciple is capable of. Seeing the 7 sons of the Chongyang sword formation, Jun Haoyan sneered. In the next moment, Jun Haoyan made his move. Strength of the hell-crushing god mammoth. Activate. A vast and boundless suppressive force suddenly gushed out from Jun Haoyan's body. Every pore on his body exuded an incomparably powerful aura. A vast aura fluctuated. Jun Haoyan's Zhenyuan was like a tidal wave, surging violently. Then Jun Haoyan threw an ordinary punch at the Chongyang 7. For this punch, Jun Haoyan did not even use the Celestial Devil technique. With unparalleled strength, Jun Haoyan suddenly threw out this punch. Boom. An incomparably terrifying aura spread throughout the entire Ethereal Peak. Under Jun Haoyan's terrifying punch, the endless sword beams that filled the Ethereal Peak were all shattered in an instant. When the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect saw this, they were instantly shocked. They felt that the current Jun Haoyan was like an invincible devil god. Until now they still could not believe this terrifying scene in front of them. With their strength of true energy realm LV8, the 7 true weapon swords, and the Chongyang sword formation, their power was unparalleled. Even among the core disciples they were top-notch existences. However, in the face of this punch they collapsed directly. Countless sword beams were shattered. Under this punch they felt as if they had hit a giant mountain, and their bodies trembled uncontrollably. At the same time, the vast suppressive force eroded their meridians and flesh. Boom. Under this tremendous force, the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect were directly sent flying in the next moment. Their faces turned extremely pale. TSK too weak. After defeating the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect with one punch, Jun Haoyan looked a little disappointed. He originally thought that the Chongyang sword formation that the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect performed together would have some ingenuity. However, who would have thought that it would be so weak? Jun Haoyan walked down Ethereal Peak slowly. He did not even have the intention to collect the identity badges of the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect. Looking at Jun Haoyan's back view, the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect did not dare to attack again. What happened just now undoubtedly shocked the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak who were present. They did not expect the 7 sons of the Chongyang sect to be the best among the core disciples. They could not even take a single blow from Jun Haoyan. Who exactly was this Jun Haoyan? This strength was too heaven-defying. Boom. At this moment, just as Jun Haoyan was about to leave Ethereal Peak, several extremely powerful auras suddenly descended on Ethereal Peak. Where is Jun Haoyan? At the same time, a loud roar resounded through the void. An extremely powerful aura suddenly shrouded the entire void. Then 7 figures descended from the void. The aura of each figure was enough to shake the entire Ethereal Peak. It was vast and boundless. Feeling the aura coming from the void, all the inner sect disciples turned pale and their auras withered. Some of the weaker disciples could not even stand properly. They directly knelt on the ground as if they were going to worship the gods. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the figure standing in the void. They were extremely shocked. This is the elder of the 7 halls. I guessed that this matter would blow up. However, I never expected that even the elders would be alarmed. This is a huge matter that concerns the entire inner sect disciples. If the elders don't appear, how is this matter going to be resolved? Didn't you see that even the core disciples could not take a single blow from Jun Haoyan? But these are the elders of the 7 halls who have come personally. When they saw the true faces of the 7 figures in the void, countless people were shocked and horrified. The elders of the 7 halls were of high status and authority. Every single one of them had a monstrous cultivation. Usually they were elusive. Not a single one of them could be seen. However, today they were all gathered at Ethereal Peak. How could they not be shocked by this scene? At the same time, all the disciples heaved a sigh of relief. With the arrival of the 7 elders, this farce could finally come to an end. No matter how strong Jun Haoyan was, it was impossible for him to go against the 7 elders directly. At this moment, among the 7 elders in the void, the Migres Hall elder had an ugly expression. The Chongyang 7 sons were his personal disciples. However, the 7 of them joined forces, coupled with the Chongyang sword formation and the true weapon longsword, still lost to Jun Haoyan. More importantly, it was just one move. Jun Haoyan defeated all of them with just one move. This scene happened to be witnessed by the 7 elders of the 7 halls. This was a complete disgrace to him. Chapter 86. The elder of Migres Palace was Wang Chongyang. At this moment, Wang Chongyang stared at Jun Haoyan and couldn't help but admire him. The outer sect disciple before him was only 16 or 17 years old, but he had such terrifying strength. It was unbelievable. Putting aside the prejudice in his heart, Wang Chongyang couldn't help but sigh. This kid was really a peerless genius. Of course, Wang Chongyang wasn't the only elder who had such thoughts. The other 6 elders had the same thought too. In Ethereal Peak, Jun Haoyan stopped after hearing the voice in the void. His goal was achieved. Seeing that the 7 elders had appeared, Jun Haoyan was elated. He had achieved his goal of creating momentum this time. Greetings, elders. Feeling the pressure on him, Jun Haoyan cupped his fists towards the 7 elders in the void. His expression was neither servile nor overbearing, and his bearing was extraordinary. Jun Haoyan, who gave you the right to challenge the inner sect disciples of Ethereal Peak and take their identity badges? Do you know that this is against the rules of the sacred ground? If you don't have a reasonable explanation today, I will cripple your cultivation, expel you from the sacred ground, and never hire you again." Loud shouts came from the void as the 7 elders spoke one after another. The other disciples were a little surprised. Given the temperament of the elders, they didn't take down Jun Haoyin directly? Seeing that the elders were angry, Jun Haoyin's expression didn't change. Instead, he revealed a subtle smile. With the status of the elders, they could have taken down a mere outer sect disciple like him directly. But in the current situation, was this a chance for him to explain himself? Jun Haoyin had already guessed in his heart that his fame had already reached the ears of the elders after hearing about this event. Even the palace masters of the 7 major palaces had heard about him. A mere outer sect disciple had such strength. These elders must have secretly investigated him before coming. Naturally, they would also know about his sibling relationship with Jun Moyo. If this matter involved the competition between the true disciples of the sacred ground, even these elders wouldn't dare to stop casually. This was because once they made a move, they would be able to determine their faction and position. Now, in the Langya sacred ground, the true disciples were fighting for supremacy, and the various forces were tangled and complicated. Even the 7 hall elders did not dare to casually pick a side. Although Jun Moyo was only a successor disciple of the Disha echelon, the one who had brought Jun Moyo from Soaring Dragon City to the Holy Land was a Grand Elder of the Holy Land. Therefore, the 7 hall elders did not dare to casually make a move against Jun Haoyin. Moreover, the Langya sacred ground was a human orthodoxy, not a place for demons and ghosts. It had its own set of rules. Before confirming Jun Haoyin's crime, even the 7 elders couldn't directly arrest him. However, if Jun Haoyin really broke the rules, then even if Jun Moyo stepped in, he wouldn't be able to protect Jun Haoyin. Jun Haoyin naturally understood this principle. Then, he looked at the 7 hall elders in the void and said in a neither servile nor overbearing tone, "I'm just following the orders of the core disciple, Long Ziyue." Under such circumstances, Jun Haoyin naturally chose to shift the blame. "Are you telling the truth?" Hearing that, the Kaiyang hall elder sneered. Then he slowly took a step forward and said, "Long Ziyue, what else do you have to say?" As soon as the Kaiyang hall elder finished speaking, Long Ziyue's figure walked out from behind. When she saw Jun Haoyin, Long Ziyue's eyes were filled with murderous intent as if she wanted to cut Jun Haoyin into pieces. Especially when she heard what Jun Haoyin said just now. If it weren't for the fact that there were elders present, Long Ziyue almost couldn't help but attack. Taking a deep breath, Long Ziyue forced herself to calm down. Today she had to find a way to prove her innocence. Otherwise, she would definitely not be able to bear the consequences. After pondering for a moment, Long Ziyue said directly to the 7 hall elders, "I swear to the heavens that I have never instructed this junior brother to challenge the ethereal peak disciples and take their identity cards. If there's any falsehood in my words, I, Long Ziyue, will die a horrible death. All of this is Jun Haoyin's scheme. I have a grudge against him, so he's using this method to frame me." Long Ziyue's words were filled with determination and convincing. At that moment, everyone looked at Jun Haoyin in bewilderment. Could it be that Long Ziyue was telling the truth? Everything was decided by Jun Haoyin on his own accord. Injuring a fellow disciple, snatching the identity card, and framing a fellow disciple. If that was the case, then Jun Haoyin had committed a serious crime. Wantonly injuring a fellow disciple, snatching the identity card, and framing others. Jun Haoyin, do you have anything else to say? The Kaiyang hall elder looked coldly at Jun Haoyin and chided. Once these crimes were established, Jun Haoyin would definitely die. Even Jun Moyo wouldn't be able to save him. At that moment, everyone's eyes were on Jun Haoyin. Kaiyang hall disciples, listen up. Arrest Jun Haoyin and bring him to justice. The Kaiyang hall elder immediately gave the order. Following the order, a team of law enforcers in black robes walked out immediately. They were different from the law enforcers that Jun Haoyin had defeated earlier. This team of law enforcers had reached True Energy Realm Stage 10, and were considered core disciples. Following the order of the Kaiyang hall elder, their faces were extremely cold. They immediately activated their true weapons and prepared to attack Jun Haoyin. Wait! Seeing this, Jun Haoyin shouted. At the same time, the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant was activated. Suddenly, hundreds of shadows of primordial mammoths appeared behind him. Violent true energy swept out, and a vital energy storm slowly condensed around Jun Haoyin's body. A primordial aura spread out in all directions. Feeling this aura, even the law enforcers who were about to attack couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. How dare you? You dare to resist? Seeing Jun Haoyin's explosive aura, the Kaiyang Hall elder was furious and shouted at Jun Haoyan. If Jun Haoyan dared to resist, he had the right to kill him on the spot. Elders, everything must be based on evidence. This disciple does not want to go against the law. I only want to explain the matter clearly. Could it be that you are going to convict me based on Long Ziyue's one-sided statement? Jun Haoyan was not afraid in the slightest as he faced the anger of the Mizang Hall's elders. When the surrounding disciples saw this scene, they were all impressed by Jun Haoyan. In the face of the pressure of the 7 elders, he could remain so calm. He was indeed a ruthless person who single-handedly overturned the entire ethereal peak. Alright, I'll give you a chance. Say it, I'd like to see what excuses you have. Hearing this, the Kaiyang Hall elder said, giving Jun Haoyan another chance. If Jun Haoyan was just an ordinary outer disciple, he wouldn't have the patience to do so. However, Jun Haoyan was backed by Jun Moyo. Moreover, this time Jun Haoyan had caused too much trouble. He was afraid that the Hall Masters and even the Holy Lord would be concerned about how to deal with this matter. If he didn't deal with it properly, he was afraid that he would be in trouble. Chapter 87. After getting the elders' approval, Jun Haoyan immediately looked at Long Ziyue. At this moment, Long Ziyue's expression had returned to its usual calmness, as though victory was in her hands. But for some reason, when she met Jun Haoyan's gaze, Long Ziyue had an ominous feeling. Long Ziyue, when I went to Alcade Hall to apply to join the inner sect that day, do you still remember what you said to me? Before Long Ziyue could reply, Jun Haoyan began to answer his own question. You said that in the Langia sacred ground, someone with my strength is merely an ant, and I'm not fit to be an inner sect disciple. Long Ziyue, am I right? I think there should be many inner sect senior brothers present that day as well, and they can all testify for me. When Jun Haoyan said that, all the inner sect disciples present were in an uproar. Especially those inner sect disciples who were defeated by Jun Haoyan, and even the core disciples. According to Long Ziyue, if Jun Haoyan was an ant, then what were they who were defeated by him? Were they not fit to be ants? Even if Long Ziyue was a core disciple, she could not insult others like this. Jun Haoyan possessed such terrifying strength, but in Long Ziyue's eyes, he was not fit to be an inner sect disciple. Then wouldn't all the ethereal peak disciples who were defeated by Jun Haoyan be even more unfit to be inner sect disciples? If this sentence really came from Long Ziyue's mouth, then Long Ziyue had undoubtedly offended all the inner sect disciples, and even some of the core disciples. Nonsense, Jun Haoyan, you're slandering me? I didn't say such a thing. Long Ziyue began to panic when she saw the furious gazes of the people around her. Without any hesitation, she immediately denied it. If she offended all the inner disciples today, there would be no place for her in the Langia sacred ground in the future. Oh, is that so? Then why are you so agitated, Senior Sister Long? Jun Haoyan had expected Long Ziyue to deny it. Hence, he continued, if it weren't for Senior Sister Long's interference with my strength, wouldn't I be able to pass the inner sect assessment? If it weren't for Long Ziyue's words, why would I need to challenge the senior brothers of Ethereal Peak? All of this is because of you, Senior Sister Long. Hearing Jun Haoyan's words, Long Ziyue's expression changed greatly. Jun Haoyan's words were simply murderous. Especially when Jun Haoyan insisted that he had said those words. If it were any other day, Long Ziyue could completely ignore Jun Haoyan's words. But today, countless inner sect disciples and the 7 elders were gathered here. If she did not handle this matter properly, she would be doomed eternally. Even the person behind her would not dare to interfere in such an infuriating matter. Long Ziyue, is what Jun Haoyan said true? What other explanation do you have? After hearing Jun Haoyan's explanation, the Kaiyang Hall elder spoke again. He looked at Long Ziyue with a displeased expression. Long Ziyue was truly arrogant and despotic. How dare a core disciple interfere in the inner sect assessment? What did she mean by being weak and unfit to be an inner sect disciple? In the Langia sacred ground, everyone started as an inner sect disciple and progressed step by step. Even he, the Kaiyang Hall elder, was the same. Furthermore, as a Kaiyang Hall elder, many of his disciples were defeated by Jun Haoyan. Didn't that mean that the disciples he took in were useless and unfit to be inner sect disciples? Of course, when the 7 elders saw how Jun Haoyan and Long Ziyue were at loggerheads, they naturally knew that there was a feud between the two of them. By the looks of it, the feud was rather huge. But what about the beginning? There was no need for them to interfere in this matter. However, Jun Haoyan had caused such a huge ruckus that the entire Langia sacred ground was in an uproar. Therefore, the 7 elders had no choice but to interfere. After all the inner sect disciples in Ethereal Peak were waiting for them to stand up for them. Long Ziyue was shocked when she heard the questioning words of the Kaiyang Hall elder. The current situation was already out of her control. If she did not think of a way to resolve it, she might incur the displeasure of all the inner sect disciples. At this moment, Long Ziyue's heart was filled with regret. Back then she should not have lost her cool and jumped out to cause trouble for Jun Haoyin so early. She never expected that Jun Haoyin would actually pull such a stunt for her. At the thought of Jun Haoyin, the murderous intent in Long Ziyue's heart rose again. The most important thing now was to make Jun Haoyin shut up. Once she killed Jun Haoyin, this matter would end here. At the thought of this, Long Ziyue could not help but take a deep breath. She then looked at Jun Haoyin with eyes full of murderous intent. This matter was caused by the personal feud between Jun Haoyin and I. May I be so bold as to ask all the junior brothers and elders to be witnesses? I want to have a death match with Jun Haoyin to end our feud and give an explanation for this matter. A death match? Hearing this, everyone present was shocked and their hearts trembled. Jun Haoyin, do you dare to have a death match with me? Long Ziyue looked at Jun Haoyin with an aggressive gaze. Although Jun Haoyin had shown that he was not inferior to a core disciple in the previous battle with the Chongyang 7 Sons. However, Long Ziyue was very confident. She was not comparable to the Chongyang 7 Sons. With her trump card, it would not be a problem to get rid of Jun Haoyin. As long as Jun Haoyin was dead, she would take back all the identity tokens and apologize to all the inner sect disciples. This farce would then be over. Moreover, her reputation as Long Ziyue would rise to another level. After hearing Long Ziyue's words, all the inner sect disciples present looked at Jun Haoyin. Would Jun Haoyin dare to accept a death match issued by a core disciple? Especially someone like Long Ziyue, who was one of the top few core disciples in terms of strength. She was extremely powerful. Moreover, Long Ziyue had someone backing her up. It was said that she had various Yuan weapons and true weapons to protect her. She was just waiting to break through to the Yuan Dan realm and directly challenge the position of a pro-disciple. At this moment, all the inner sect disciples were looking at Jun Haoyin, waiting for Jun Haoyin to make a decision. If they wanted to end this farce today, one of them had to be the scapegoat between Jun Haoyin and Long Ziyue. One of them had to bear the anger of all the inner sect disciples. Even the 7 elders had quieted down. They looked at Jun Haoyin, waiting for his decision. At this point, one of Jun Haoyin and Long Ziyue had to die to resolve this matter. On the other side, Jun Haoyin was amused after hearing Long Ziyue's words. He was just thinking about how to send her to reunite with Jun Haoyin. He did not expect her to come knocking on his door. She could not blame him for being merciless. Therefore, Jun Haoyin slowly raised his head, revealing a playful smile. All right, I accept your death match. As soon as he said that, countless inner sect disciples were in an uproar. Chapter 89. Countless inner court disciples were shocked when they heard that Jun Haoyin had agreed to a battle to the death with Long Ziyue. Regardless of the outcome of the battle, Jun Haoyin's name would be forever engraved in their hearts. Later, Jun Haoyin and Long Ziyue signed a life and death contract under the auspices of the 7 elders. The contents of the contract were, on the life and death arena, there will be a battle to the death. No one is allowed to interfere and no one is allowed to pursue the matter after death. The life and death arena had always been the place where the disciples of the Langya sacred ground settled their conflicts and fought to the death. It had been many years since blood had been spilled on the life and death arena. News of Jun Haoyin and Long Ziyue's battle to the death instantly spread throughout the entire Langya sacred ground. It even attracted the attention of many elite disciples. They wanted to see what this ruthless person who had single-handedly overturned the entire ethereal peak looked like. Langya sacred ground. At this moment, countless people were gathered under a towering and vast hall. The hall stood tall and there were over 3,000 golden steps below it. Especially on the 2 sides of the golden steps, there were countless sabers, spears, swords, hammers, and over 100 other weapons. These weapons were extremely large, more than 10 times larger than ordinary weapons. Moreover, every single weapon here was stained with blood. It seemed like too much time had passed and the blood had turned black. From the outside, the hall gave off an extremely solemn and cold feeling. It was like hell. In front of the main hall, there was a huge square arena that was more than 80 feet wide and 80 feet long. It was suspended in the void. The arena was chiseled from limestone, and it flickered with flowing light like a dazzling star. This was the life and death arena where the disciples of the Langya sacred ground fought to the death. According to the ancient records in the Langius sacred ground, the life and death arena was created by a meteor that fell from the starry sky. Legend had it that it was stained with the blood of countless demons. It had also experienced countless great battles. Even ordinary Imperial Dao realm and Transcendence realm experts would find it difficult to leave a trace on it. At the same time, Jun Haoyin and Long Ziyue stood opposite each other on the life and death arena. In the void, the 7 elders stood in the air. According to the rules of the Langius sacred ground, once the life and death ring was activated, there had to be an elder to protect it. Jun Haoyin, I didn't expect you to accept my challenge. At this moment, Long Ziyue looked at Jun Haoyin opposite her. Her expression was arrogant, and she once again regained her high and mighty attitude. So what if he overturned the entire inner sanctum? In front of a core disciple, an inner disciple was nothing, not to mention Long Ziyue who had countless trump cards. In fact, she had never thought that she would lose to Jun Haoyin. Oh, actually, I didn't think that you would take the initiative to seek death. The corners of Jun Haoyin's mouth also revealed a trace of mockery as he spoke casually. When he came to the Langius sacred ground, his first goal was naturally to kill Long Ziyue. Initially, he thought that it would take some effort, but from the looks of it now, it was not as difficult as he had imagined. Are you trying to provoke me? I'm afraid you'll never know how big the gap between us is. Long Ziyue's beautiful eyes stared fixedly at Jun Haoyin, and her eyes were filled with fierce killing intent. This time I'll tear you into pieces. At this moment, an extremely loud voice resounded in the void. The Kaiyang Hall elder slowly landed on the life and death ring, holding a life and death contract in his hand. On the life and death ring, life and death must be determined, and there is no winner or loser. As soon as he finished speaking, the life and death contract in the Kaiyang Hall elder's hand turned into a stream of light, landed on the life and death ring, and transformed into a huge light screen. The origin formation had been activated, and the battle had begun. Boom. Almost without hesitation, Long Ziyue directly attacked Jun Haoyin. Violent true origin gathered around her, and gradually condensed into a huge green wand shadow. The green wand shadow covered the clouds and the sun, and it was at least a few hundred feet in size. At the same time, layers of terrifying true origin waves surged out from Long Ziyue's body, forming a true origin storm. Long Ziyue actually had a terrifying cultivation level of true energy realm LV9. Seeing this scene, the hearts of countless disciples were filled with shock. One had to know that Long Ziyue had not been in the Langius sacred ground for long, only half a year. This kind of cultivation speed was monstrous. With such monstrous talent, even an ordinary true disciple could not compare to her. However, while everyone was still in shock, an even more terrifying aura suddenly surged out from the life and death ring, and it tore the void apart. Rays of dazzling light flashed out from Jun Haoyin's body. Vast and boundless true essence shot out from his body, and numerous primordial mammoth phantoms condensed behind him, revealing an ancient and boundless aura. This power. Could it be that he did not display his full strength earlier? Just how strong is this guy? This aura is far from the true energy realm LV6. Is he really only at the true energy realm LV6? Countless Langius sacred ground disciples were shocked when they saw the terrifying aura that was released from Jun Haoyin's body. In particular, the inner court disciples on the Soaring Dragon leaderboard who had fought with Jun Haoyin earlier were even more horrified. They had thought that Jun Haoyin had displayed his full strength. Even if they were weaker than Jun Haoyin, they were not much weaker. However, now that they had seen it, Jun Haoyin had defeated them without even using his full strength during their previous battle. At the thought of this, countless inner court disciples could not help but feel dejected. Even the 7 elders in the void were shocked when they sensed the boundless aura that was released from Jun Haoyin's body. Such a young outer court disciple could actually release such an extraordinary aura. At this moment, Long Ziyue was looking at Jun Haoyin in the life and death ring. Her expression changed drastically. Jun Haoyin was much stronger than she had imagined. He could not be allowed to live. With this thought in mind, Long Ziyue did not hesitate. She immediately channeled her true energy and attacked decisively. Suddenly, rays of golden light flickered around her body. They were golden threads that exuded a fierce killing aura. Golden thread cutting technique. With a cold smile, Long Ziyue shouted coldly. Countless golden threads immediately swept toward Jun Haoyin. The golden threads were densely packed and instantly covered the entire life and death ring. This was a top-tier martial art that was close to a divine ability. When cultivated to the level of greater mastery, it could even slice a mountain into countless pieces. Such a fierce attack could even kill an ordinary LV-8 True Energy Realm cultivator in an instant. However, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change at all in the face of the thousands of threads. In the next moment, Divine Elephant Overpowering Strength activate. Capital Demon God Technique activate. Hundreds of immemorial mammoth shadows slowly appeared behind Jun Haoyin. It was as if thousands of soldiers and horses were galloping. Their aura was monstrous. At the same time, 12 demon god shadows suddenly appeared above Jun Haoyin's head. The might of the demon god dominated the world. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin threw a punch at Long Ziyue without any fancy moves. Chapter 90. Boom. Along with Jun Haoyin's punch, a surge of unparalleled divine might suddenly surged in the void, as if a huge wave had been set off. In the next moment, Long Ziyue's expression changed drastically. Following Jun Haoyin's punch, a monstrous power suddenly spread in the void. As for Long Ziyue's golden threads, they were like ordinary threads under the pressure. They snapped with a single touch. In just an instant, the thousands of silk threads that Long Ziyue spent a lot of true origin to condense were all destroyed by Jun Haoyin and turned into nothingness. This is impossible. Seeing this scene, Long Ziyue's eyes were filled with disbelief. However, Long Ziyue's hands did not stop moving. She crazily circulated all the true origin in her body in an attempt to block Jun Haoyin's terrifying punch. Boom. In the next moment, the two collided, and a thunderous explosion rippled in the void. There was a roar between heaven and earth. Under Jun Haoyin's punch, Long Ziyue's body flew out and crashed into the barrier of the origin formation. Pfft. After landing, Long Ziyue spat out a mouthful of thick blood on the spot. At this moment, her face was extremely pale and she felt as if her internal organs had been displaced. Jun Haoyin's punch just now almost completely shattered her body. This was too terrifying. Countless Langya Holy Land disciples saw this scene and their faces turned pale. Even some of the core disciples were shocked and speechless. Among the core disciples who could have such a violent and rich true origin. Even the 7 elders in the void had a strange look in their eyes as they looked at each other. They thought that the two of them would have a fierce battle, but they never expected that as a core disciple, Long Ziyue could not even withstand one punch from Jun Haoyin. He was severely injured by Jun Haoyin with just one punch. After finishing off Long Ziyue with one punch, Jun Haoyin revealed a cold smile. You know what? Before your father died, I promised him that I would soon send you down to accompany him. Jun Haoyin said as he walked towards Long Ziyue step by step. His body was straight and his clothes were as white as snow. Now it is time for me to fulfill my promise. Jun Haoyin looked coldly at Long Ziyue, as if he was looking at an ant that he could crush at any time. Sensing Jun Haoyin's gaze, Long Ziyue suddenly felt her entire body turn cold. With her arrogant personality, she had always been the only one who looked at others with such a gaze. But now, the ant that used to bow and scrape before her was actually standing in front of her. Furthermore, he was looking down at him with such arrogance. How could Long Ziyue, who had always been arrogant, tolerate this? Jun Haoyin, you forced me to do this. Looking at Jun Haoyin, who was looking down at her, Long Ziyue's expression gradually became a little crazy. Jun Haoyin's punch had completely shattered her arrogant heart. At this moment, she had already thrown caution to the wind. Boom. In the next moment, she condensed the true vitality in her body again, and an extremely powerful aura erupted from her body again. At the same time, a silver awl suddenly appeared in her hand, with terrifying lightning lingering around it. This silver awl was only the size of a human head at first, but under Long Ziyue's control, it suddenly grew bigger. In a moment, it had become more than 100 feet in size like a small mountain, and it was covered with terrifying lightning. This is a treasure weapon. A core disciple actually has a treasure weapon. In the void, the group of elders looked at the silver thunder all with astonishment. After all, even in the Langya sacred ground, only the true disciples were qualified to possess treasured weapons. In an instant, the huge thunder all vibrated and countless lightning flashed on it. Rumble. Terrifying lightning constantly flashed in the void. As the lightning all vibrated, extremely terrifying lightning bolts that were several feet thick suddenly shot out from it. Wherever the lightning passed, even the void seemed to be torn apart. With such terrifying lightning, even an ordinary Yuan Dan realm martial artist would not dare to take it head-on, let alone a true energy realm martial artist. However, seeing this, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change at all. Suddenly, a bright light appeared on his body. The spiritual essence that was inhaling and exhaling from his pores became denser. His entire body was crystal clear, and there were various kinds of mysterious lights circulating around it. At this moment, Jun Haoyin was like a glazed pagoda, extremely dazzling. At the same time, Jun Haoyin did not hide the aura of the yin-yang treasured body. In the next moment, countless yin and yang qi lingered on his body, making him look like a god. With the appearance of the yin-yang treasured body, countless divine lights flashed. Jun Haoyin was as dazzling as the sun in the sky. A powerful aura spread in the void. Jun Haoyin bathed in thousands of lightning bolts, becoming the most dazzling existence. Boom. In the next moment, without any warning, Jun Haoyin suddenly punched out. Bang. In an instant, the entire life and death ring shook violently. Majestic true energy poured out of his body. Jun Haoyin stood tall in the endless lightning bolts, turning into an ancient god of war, and punched out one punch after another. Boom boom boom. Every time Jun Haoyin punched out, the void seemed to shake and collapse at any time. A terrifying aura spread out. Even the disciples standing below the life and death arena felt their hearts palpitate. If it were not for the protection of the origin formation outside the life and death ring, no one would dare to watch from the periphery. On the life and death ring, the power of every punch from Jun Haoyin was terrifying, as if it was enough to move the stars. A vast and boundless aura spread in the void. The thick lightning bolts that shot out from the silver lightning cone were shattered by Jun Haoyin's punches. Boom boom boom. The entire earth seemed to shake, and divine lights shot out, extremely dazzling. One by one, the primordial mammoths roared behind Jun Haoyin. They seemed to be carrying the stars and stepping on the 9 hells, suppressing the endless void. No. In the face of Jun Haoyin's monstrous pressure, Long Ziyue's face suddenly turned pale. She realized in despair that her true energy was not even 1/10 of Jun Haoyin's. What made her even more desperate was that her greatest reliance, the treasured weapon, was also shaken by Jun Haoyin. A trace of determination flashed in her eyes. In the next moment, Long Ziyue directly spat a mouthful of blood essence on the silver lightning cone. In an instant, purple lightning bolts suddenly surged out from the silver lightning cone, shooting toward Jun Haoyin. Jun Haoyin's face turned cold. The aura on his body became stronger and the blood in his body surged. Then a monstrous blood sea slowly floated above Jun Haoyin's head. 12 figures walked out of the blood sea. They seemed to have crossed time and space, and the power of the demon god suddenly supported Jun Haoyin. Chapter 91. The Power of the 12 Demon Gods. Boom. Jun Haoyin seemed to have transformed into a real divine king. His robe was as white as snow as he punched out again. It was as if the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. A vast aura shook the void. Crack. In the next moment, a scene that shocked everyone happened. The silver thunder cone in Long Ziyue's hand cracked. Jun Haoyin's quintessential origin energy and the strength of his fleshly body tore it apart easily. Boom. Jun Haoyin punched out again. The vast true core strength condensed into a huge fist print and blasted towards the silver thunder cone. The power was so terrifying that it seemed to be able to shatter a huge mountain. Boom. Jun Haoyin punched out again. The silver thunder cone in Long Ziyue's hand could not hold on any longer. It cracked layer by layer and turned into thousands of pieces. At the same time, Long Ziyue's physical body also suffered great damage. Her dantian and meridians were directly destroyed by Jun Haoyin's terrifying true core strength. Puff. After suffering such a heavy blow, Long Ziyue spat out a mouthful of thick blood. Then she collapsed on the life and death ring powerlessly. Below the life and death ring, everyone saw this scene. Some of the core disciples were especially pale. Such terrifying strength could probably defeat all the core disciples. The scene of Jun Haoyin directly shattering the treasure artifact had caused everyone's heart to tremble violently. How many people could achieve such a powerful physical body and true core strength? At the same time, the faces of the 7 elders in the void changed. This young man's strength was too terrifying. While everyone was in shock, Jun Haoyin calmly approached Long Ziyue on the life and death ring. After a few breaths, Jun Haoyin stood in front of Long Ziyue. Now, it's time to send you down to reunite with your father. Jun Haoyin's tone was so cold that it made Long Ziyue tremble. She could feel that Jun Haoyin would kill her without mercy. Jun Haoyin, if you kill me, there will be a day when someone will avenge me. Long Ziyue seemed to know that she would not be able to escape death today. Instead, she calmed down. She looked at Jun Haoyin with eyes full of resentment. Revenge? I'll be waiting. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin smiled and shook his head. Then he stretched out his hand and a huge amount of qi slowly lifted Long Ziyue up. At this moment, Jun Haoyin seemed to have turned into the Azura god of death. A huge, almost tangible killing intent surged out from his body. Not to mention Long Ziyue, even the spectators standing below the life and death ring felt a chill in their hearts. Is Jun Haoyin really going to kill Long Ziyue? Doesn't he know that Long Ziyue has a big shot behind her back? So what? This is the life and death ring. It's a battle of life and death. No one can stop it. But isn't he afraid that the person behind Long Ziyue will seek revenge in the future? The spectators discussed in low voices. Long Ziyue had a big shot behind her back. If he killed Long Ziyue just like that, Jun Haoyin might suffer the revenge of that big shot. Everyone looked at Jun Haoyin on the life and death ring, guessing what choice he would make. On the life and death ring, Jun Haoyin looked coldly at Long Ziyue. He raised his palms slightly. The killing intent in his body surged and the primordial mammoth roared. The sharp killing intent emitted from Jun Haoyin's body made Long Ziyue feel as if she was in an ice cellar. Long Ziyue's face turned pale. She closed her eyes in despair and waited for death to come. How dare you? Stop it. At this moment, a thunderous explosion came from the void. At the same time, the wind and clouds on the life and death ring shook. Following this roar, the void trembled in an instant. It was as if thunder had exploded. A vast divine light suddenly shot out. Countless spectating disciples were shaken by this roar, and a roar sounded in their minds. Then a vast power suddenly descended and shrouded the life and death ring. Seeing this, the 7 elders in the void frowned slightly. However, after a moment of silence, none of the elders stood up. Feeling the aura in the void, they naturally knew who had come. They thought that this matter would end there. However, they did not expect the situation to change again. At this very moment, Jun Haoyin stood alone on the life and death ring. Long Ziyue, who was in front of him, had her true origin restrained. After doing all this, Jun Haoyin turned around and looked at the person who had come. There, above the void, thousands of lightning bolts were surging wildly. Terrifying purple lightning snakes were swimming. In the next moment, the lightning snakes dispersed and a green figure walked out slowly. The green figure stood tall with great power. The aura emitted from his body made everyone's heart palpitate. Although the person who had come was not on par with the 7 elders in terms of cultivation, the aura of a high position that he exuded was not inferior to the elders. It's the true disciple of the Earth Fiend sequence, Xing Shan. I've heard that senior brother Qi has a close relationship with Long Ziyue. I didn't expect it to be true. I didn't expect that even the true disciples would intervene in this matter. There's going to be a good show to watch. After seeing Xing Shan appear, everyone was extremely shocked. The true disciples were the future of the Holy Land. If the Langya Holy Land was compared to a country, then the true disciples were like princes. They had the qualifications to aspire for the highest authority in the Holy Land. Unless the 7 hall masters appeared, even the elders of the 7 halls had no right to discipline these true disciples. In addition, there was an unwritten rule in the Langya Holy Land. That was, even the 7 hall elders and hall masters could not casually intervene in the competition between true disciples. This rule also established the unparalleled power of the true disciples. Therefore, when they saw Xing Shan appear, the 7 hall elders did not stop him. Jun Haoyin and Long Ziyue both had true disciples supporting them. This matter could be considered as a competition between true disciples. Under the circumstances where Xing Shan did not break the rules of the Holy Land, even as elders they could not casually intervene. At this moment, Xing Shan had already walked out of the thousands of thunderbolts. 2 rays of light suddenly shot out from his eyes and shot directly at Jun Haoyin. Let her go. Xing Shan's words were very tough. That tone was as if he was ordering Jun Haoyin to do something. Xing Shan had been watching the scene just now. Although he was a little surprised by Jun Haoyin's strength, Xing Shan did not take it to heart. He was a true disciple and a Yuan Dan powerhouse. He did not take Jun Haoyin, a mere outer disciple, seriously. Even a monstrous genius like Jun Haoyin. Chapter 92. Below the Life and Death Ring. Seeing Xing Shan's overbearing attitude, everyone looked at Jun Haoyin. Xing Shan was a true disciple and one of the most powerful people in the sacred ground. Besides, Xing Shan's strength could be ranked in the top 20 even among the Earth Emanation sequence. Facing such a powerful enemy, how would Jun Haoyin choose? Facing Xing Shan's overbearing attitude, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change. He said slowly, "Why should I?" As soon as he said that, even the 7 elders looked at each other. This guy's guts are a little too big, isn't he? He even dared to talk back to a true disciple. If you let him go, I'll let you go for your sister's sake. Hearing that, Tsing Shan frowned slightly, then turned nonchalant. In his eyes, Jun Haoyan was like an ant that he could pinch to death easily. Wouldn't it be beneath his dignity to be calculative with such an ant? From the beginning to the end, Tsing Shan only cared about Jun Moyo. If he were to directly attack Jun Haoyan in front of so many people, it would be difficult to explain to Jun Moyu. Hearing Tsing Shan's words, Jun Haoyan frowned. With his current strength, it was still a little difficult to deal with Tsing Shan. However, at that moment, a voice transmission suddenly entered his ears. Then Jun Haoyan suddenly smiled and said to Tsing Shan calmly, "What if I don't let her go?" "I'll say it again. Let her go." Seeing that Jun Haoyan rejected him again, Tsing Shan's tone could not help but reveal some anger. Although he did not care about the ant in front of him, it did not mean that he could tolerate the ant jumping around in front of him. Otherwise he would not mind pinching him to death. Jun Haoyan did not take it to heart. He then looked at Long Ziyue. It seemed that the arrival of Tsing Shan had given Long Ziyue hope for survival. Her eyes glowed again. "Long Ziyue, you must die today. Even the Tsing Shan won't be able to keep you alive." I said it. However, just when Long Ziyue thought that he could survive, Jun Haoyan's cold voice suddenly rang in his ears. Jun Haoyan's voice was emotionless. "Jun Haoyan, how dare you?" Feeling Jun Haoyan's biting cold killing intent, Tsing Shan couldn't help but be shocked and angry as he angrily shouted. However, the space of the life and death arena had its own rules. It not only determined who was stronger and who was weaker, but it also determined life and death. The origin formation on the life and death arena would only be removed after one person died. Therefore, no matter how angry Tsing Shan was, there was nothing he could do. "Let's see if I dare or not." Hearing that, Jun Haoyan sneered. In the next moment he clenched his fist tightly. Boom. An extremely powerful true origin suddenly gushed out of Jun Haoyan's body and swept toward Long Ziyue like a raging wave. Jun Haoyan's true origin was so vast that Long Ziyue could not resist it at all. In the next moment, Long Ziyue's perfect body directly exploded. A wave of true origin chi spread out in the life and death arena. Endless flesh and blood drifted down like snowflakes in the sky. At this point, Long Ziyue was dead. Outside the life and death arena, countless people saw the scene of a rain of blood, and their faces turned pale. Jun Haoyan, dressed in white, stood in the rain of blood without a trace of dust. At this moment, Jun Haoyan truly showed the demeanor of a peerless genius. All the disciples below the arena saw Jun Haoyan's tall and straight figure and couldn't help but feel a trace of admiration. Some of the female disciples saw Jun Haoyan's figure and couldn't help but admire him. However, when they thought of Jun Haoyan's cold-blooded scene just now, they couldn't help but feel fearful. Such a peerless figure was really rare in the world. In the void, the 7 elders saw Jun Haoyan directly kill Long Ziyue and frowned, but they didn't say anything. On the life and death arena, life and death were determined. Jun Haoyan won and killed Long Ziyue. He didn't violate the Holy Land's rules. "You! How dare you!" Among the people present, the most furious was naturally Tsing Shan. He had personally stepped in but still couldn't save Long Ziyue. This made him furious. At this moment, thunder rumbled around Tsing Shan, and a vast divine power instantly descended upon the entire life and death arena. At this moment, Tsing Shan was really angry to the extreme. Part of it was because of Long Ziyue's death, but more so because Jun Haoyan ignored his orders and killed Long Ziyue in front of him. An ant-like existence who didn't even take his words seriously. Damned ant. Tsing Shan's extremely cold voice rang out, representing extreme anger. In the next moment, a bright Yuan Dan shadow floated up from Tsing Shan, and thousands of thunderbolts shot out from the Yuan Dan. Boundless heaven and earth Yuan Qi vibrated around his body, forming a violent Yuan Qi storm. With the killing intent in his heart, Tsing Shan didn't hesitate at all. The moment Jun Haoyan killed Long Ziyue, he made his move. Vast true essence Qi gushed out from Tsing Shan's body like the sun. At the same time, a silver spear covered in thunder appeared in Tsing Shan's hand. The silver spear flashed with thunder, and the aura it exuded was extremely extraordinary. It was actually an upper-grade treasure weapon. Holding the extraordinary thunder spear, Tsing Shan looked like he was listening to the thunder god, and he waved his terrifying spear at Jun Haoyan. Above the void, the 7 elders frowned. They didn't expect Tsing Shan to suddenly make his move. After Jun Haoyan killed Long Ziyue, the origin array on the life and death ring had disappeared, and Jun Haoyan also lost this layer of protection. The thunder spear in Tsing Shan's hand shot out like a divine light, and in a short moment, it expanded to hundreds of feet, like a spear that could pierce the sky. It was worthy of being an attack from a Yuan Dan realm master. This attack was enough to move mountains and fill the sea, and its power was unparalleled. Facing this attack, Jun Haoyan looked a little dignified. This Tsing Shan was worthy of being one of the best among the legacy disciples. He was really extraordinary. However, although he was very afraid of Tsing Shan, Jun Haoyan didn't show any signs of retreating. Instead, he stood in place waiting for the thunder spear to come. I seal the world. Just as the thunder spear was about to attack Jun Haoyan, a cold voice suddenly sounded in the void. The next moment, the temperature of the thousands of meters around the life and death ring dropped to the freezing point in an instant. Then an even more amazing scene happened. Between heaven and earth, it started to snow heavily, and in an instant, it covered the entire life and death ring. In an instant, the entire void began to be covered in silver. Looking at this miraculous scene, all of the inner sect disciples were astonished. Moreover, this was not the most shocking thing. At the same time, above the void, the thunder spear shot by Tsing Shan seemed to be blocked by something, and the surrounding origin chi was all wrapped up. The extraordinary thunder spear was directly frozen, and then shattered and disappeared. Chapter 93. Qi Qingshan, if you want to hurt my people, have you asked for my permission? Just as everyone was wondering who the attacker was, a white stream of light suddenly shot toward Jun Haoyan and appeared beside Jun Haoyan. It was Jun Moyo, who had gone out a few days ago. It's senior sister Jun. Judging from senior sister Jun's words, Jun Haoyan must be related to senior sister Jun. Both of their surnames are Jun. Could it be that they are siblings? No way. This person is related to senior sister Jun. Seeing Jun Moyo appear, everyone present was shocked. After the shock, everyone suddenly realized something. No wonder Jun Haoyan dared to act so arrogantly as an outer disciple. It turned out that he had senior sister Jun's support. It seemed that today's matter would escalate into a battle between core disciples. Jun Moyo, are you trying to stop me? Seeing Jun Moyo suddenly appear, Tsing Shan's face suddenly turned ugly. He did not expect Jun Moyo to come back so soon. Moreover, he had a vague feeling that Jun Moyo's strength seemed to have increased a lot after returning this time, which gave him an invisible pressure. Nonsense, if I don't stop you, my only brother will be killed by you. Hearing this, Jun Moyo's face turned ugly. She did not expect that she would almost be killed by Tsing Shan after only a few days. In fact, Jun Moyo had just returned to Langya's sacred ground. When she returned to Mo Yushin Peak, she happened to hear someone talking about Jun Haoyan. After asking around, she found out. Her good little brother had actually done so many earth-shattering things in the few days that she had been away. First, he single-handedly overturned all the inner disciples and even dared to injure the law enforcement disciples and even the core disciples. After that, he made an agreement with Long Ziyue to fight to the death on the life and death arena. Hearing these things, Jun Moyo, who had always kept a straight face, could not help but feel frightened. When she arrived at the life and death ring, she saw Jun Haoyan defeating Long Ziyue and Tsing Shan threatening Jun Haoyan. Infuriated, Jun Moyo immediately transmitted a message to Jun Haoyan, telling him not to be afraid and to do whatever he wanted. She would take care of everything. Therefore, Jun Haoyan killed Long Ziyue without any scruples, even in the presence of Tsing Shan, a true disciple. Jun Moyo became even more furious when she thought about how she might have died at the hands of Tsing Shan if she hadn't come back today. She stared at Tsing Shan with a gloomy expression and said, "On the life and death arena, life and death must be determined. Tsing Shan, do you want to break the rules?" As soon as Jun Moyo said this, Tsing Shan could not help but frown. Jun Moyo was right. Jun Haoyan did not break the rules of the Holy Land. However, he had a reason to act. If Long Ziyue died, he would not be able to answer to that lord. Thinking of this, Tsing Shan stared at Jun Haoyan and said coldly, "I naturally know the rules and I don't intend to break the rules. However, this younger brother of yours is so arrogant that he doesn't even put me, a true disciple, in his eyes. It's not too much for me to teach him a lesson." As soon as Tsing Shan said this, the corners of the disciples' mouths twitched. Was the move you used just a simple lesson? Which true element cultivator could withstand that move of yours? Everyone present could see that Tsing Shan wanted Jun Haoyan's life. However, they did not dare to refute Tsing Shan's words. Who dared to challenge the dignity of a true disciple? Haha, Tsing Shan, I didn't expect you to be so thick-skinned. I really admire you. However, Jun Haoyan's next words made all the disciples' scalps tingle. This Jun Haoyan was really not afraid of blowing things up. If he said this, he would probably offend Tsing Shan to the core. At this moment, Jun Haoyan did not care at all. Even if he had already offended him, why would he still be polite? Tsing Shan wanted to save face, but Yi Shiwen did not give him any. Yi Shiwen wanted to trample on his face. From the beginning, Jun Haoyan did not think of being timid. Of course, this was under the condition that Jun Moyo was standing next to him. Jun Haoyan's extremely sarcastic words undoubtedly made Tsing Shan angry again. Presumptuous. Tsing Shan looked coldly at Jun Haoyan. This ant was really courting death. If Jun Moyo was not here, even if he risked the consequences of being punished by the Holy Lands, he would kill Jun Haoyan here. This person was really an eyesore. However, Tsing Shan was a true disciple and his temperament was not comparable to others. Soon he calmed down and his gaze towards Jun Haoyan returned to its original calmness. An ant will always be an ant. No matter how you jump around, you can't get rid of the identity of an ant. Looking at Jun Haoyan, Tsing Shan said. His voice was very calm as if he was stating a fact. Although he was calm on the surface, Tsing Shan's heart was filled with murderous intent. No matter what, Jun Haoyan's life must be his. Even if Jun Moyo was protecting him, he would find a chance to kill Jun Haoyan. An ant also has a time to turn the world upside down. Hearing this, Jun Haoyan could not help but let out a sneer. The next moment he took a step forward and walked in front of Jun Moyo. How about we make a bet? 1 year later, I will trample you under my feet. Jun Haoyan raised a finger at Tsing Shan and said in a determined tone. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was extremely shocked. Was Jun Haoyan crazy? Did he know what he was saying? 1 year? Wanting to trample a peerless figure like Tsing Shan under his feet in 1 year was simply a fantasy. Although the gap between the true energy realm and the Yuandan realm was only 1 realm. However, the gap between the realms was like the gap between heaven and earth. Anyone who could cultivate to the Yuandan realm could be called a powerhouse of a generation. It was extremely difficult for a martial artist at the 10th level of the true energy realm to break through to the Yuandan realm. An ordinary martial artist would need hundreds of years to break through from the 10th level of the true energy realm to the true energy realm. Even a genius would need at least 10 years if they did not have any opportunities. Not to mention the others, even Jun Moyo, who was behind Jun Haoyan, felt that Jun Haoyan was crazy after hearing Jun Haoyan's words. Even she did not dare to say that he could defeat Tsing Shan in 1 year. Do you know what you are saying? 1 year, you dare to say that you can defeat me in 1 year? Tsing Shan finally reacted to Jun Haoyan's words. As if he had misheard, he sneered and said, You are probably the most arrogant person I have ever seen in my life. Above the void, the 7 elders were stunned after hearing Jun Haoyan's words. They looked at Jun Haoyan strangely. Could it be that this child had been beaten silly? After witnessing Jun Haoyan's strength, they admitted that Jun Haoyan was a peerless genius. However, the problem was that Tsing Shan was not bad either. Who was not a peerless genius to be able to become a true disciple of the Holy Land. Chapter 94. I've thought about it. 1 year is indeed a little long. Let's make it 3 months. Seeing that no one believed him, Jun Haoyan was not angry. He looked at Tsing Shan and said calmly, 3 months later, let's have a battle of life and death on the life and death arena. Do you dare to accept, Tsing Shan? Jun Haoyan's calm words only had one thought in everyone's mind. This kid is crazy. Even the 7 elders in the void had strange expressions on their faces. In their eyes, Jun Haoyan was indeed a genius. Whether it was challenging Ethereal Peak alone or going toe-to-toe with a legacy disciple, all these proved that Jun Haoyan was extraordinary. Originally they admired such a genius very much. But now they felt that Jun Haoyan was too arrogant. Just 3 months? 3 months and he wanted to defeat Tsing Shan, who was in Yuandan's realm. Even if he was bragging, he wouldn't dare to brag like this. At this moment, Tsing Shan heard Jun Haoyan's provocative words and his face darkened completely. Jun Haoyan's actions were undoubtedly looking down on him. He stared coldly at Jun Haoyan and said coldly, 3 months later we'll have a battle of life and death on the life and death arena. Jun Haoyan, are you serious? If Jun Moyo wasn't present, he really wanted to crush this ant in front of him to death. Just say it. Do you dare to accept? Jun Haoyan looked at Tsing Shan aggressively and said sternly, Haoyan, you're crazy. At this moment, Jun Moyo, who was behind Jun Haoyan, also reacted. He tugged at Jun Haoyin's sleeve and looked at him in confusion. Sister, don't worry. Tsing Shan is just a piece of trash. I'll crush him easily in 3 months. Seeing Jun Moyo looking at him worriedly, Jun Haoyin smiled and comforted him. Jun Haoyin didn't lower his voice when he said this. Tsing Shan, who was standing on the stage, naturally heard it. His face became a little ferocious, and his gaze towards Jun Haoyin was filled with murderous intent. Alright Jun Haoyin, I agree. 3 months later we'll have a battle of life and death on the life and death arena. Qi Qingshan looked at Jun Haoyin coldly. Since Jun Haoyin wanted to die, Qi Qingshan would fulfill his wish. At that time he would be responsible for the death of Long Ziyue. Thinking of this, Tsing Shan cupped his hands and said loudly to the 7 elders in the void, Elders, please be my witnesses. 3 months later I, Tsing Shan, will have a battle of life and death with this person. Hearing this, the 7 elders in the void looked at each other. Then the elder of Kaiyang Hall walked out and said to Jun Haoyin, Jun Haoyin, are you sure you want to have a battle of life and death with Tsing Shan? Once a life and death contract was signed, there was no going back, so they had to confirm it again. Moreover, in their hearts, Jun Haoyin was a very good seedling. Although it was a little arrogant, if they could make Jun Haoyin take the initiative to retreat, it would also help the Holy Land to preserve a genius. Jun Haoyin nodded confidently at Jun Moyo, then looked at the elder of Kaiyang Hall and said with determination, I'm sure. In 3 months he had enough confidence to guarantee that he could break through to Yuan Dan. Once he broke through to Yuan Dan with his foundation, it would be easy for him to beat Tsing Shan. Alright, since you insist, I'll announce that in 3 months, the true disciple Tsing Shan and the outer disciple Jun Haoyin will have a battle of life and death on the life and death platform. At this point, a trace of regret flashed in the eyes of the elder of Kaiyang Hall. An outer disciple against a true disciple, this Jun Haoyin was simply digging his own grave. What a waste of such a good talent. Then, under the leadership of the elder of Kaiyang Hall, Tsing Shan and Jun Haoyin began to sign the life and death contract. Including the one signed with Long Ziyue, this was the second life and death contract that Jun Haoyin had signed today. Regardless of the result in 3 months, Jun Haoyin's move was enough to shock the entire Langia sacred ground. Jun Haoyin cherished these 3 months. Tsing Shan glanced coldly at Jun Haoyin and quickly left the ethereal peak. Before Jun Haoyin left, he also handed over all the identity tokens that he had collected. Soon, the 7 elders also left and the ethereal peak returned to its original state. At this point, the matter of the ethereal peak had completely come to an end. Haoyin, how could you be so foolish? In the main hall of Mo Yushin Peak, Jun Moyo glared at Jun Haoyin and scolded him harshly. Jun Haoyin stood in front of Jun Moyo with a helpless look on his face. Sister, don't worry. I will win. Jun Haoyin opened his mouth and said in a confident tone. Don't worry? How can I not worry? Who is Tsing Shan? He is a stage 5 Yuan Dan realm existence. I even told him that he is about to enter stage 6 Yuan Dan realm. Jun Moyo looked as if she expected better from him. Her face was red with anger. Tell me, with your true energy realm cultivation, how can you defeat such an existence? Jun Moyo was extremely worried. She only had one brother. If Jun Haoyin died in the battle, how was she going to explain it to Jun Songlong? On the life and death ring, life and death must be determined. Currently, Jun Haoyin's cultivation was only at stage 6 true energy realm while his opponent, Tsing Shan, was about to enter stage 6 Yuan Dan realm. There was a gap of a whole realm. In the Wuxia continent, regardless of the level of a peerless genius, there was no record of a battle between 2 realms. At the thought of this, Jun Moyo's eyes were filled with despair. Now that the life and death contract had been signed, even she could not break it. Sister, actually you don't have to. Seeing Jun Moyo in such a state, Jun Haoyin could not help but speak up. However, before he could finish his sentence, he was forcefully interrupted by Jun Moyo. Shut up. How did I greet you before I left? Jun Moyo glared at Jun Haoyin furiously. I told you to endure everything. Instead you went straight to Ethereal Peak. Is this what you call enduring and keeping a low profile? How dare you sign a life and death contract with Tsing Shan in front of me? Do you have any respect for me? At the thought of Jun Haoyin's battle with Tsing Shan in 3 months, Jun Moyo felt a headache coming on. Jun Moyo sighed helplessly as her eyes flickered. It seemed like that was the only way now. Sister, don't worry. Do I look like someone who doesn't care about my life? I guarantee that I'll definitely win the battle in 3 months. Jun Haoyin comforted her again. You really have a way? Hearing that, Jun Moyo raised her head and looked at Jun Haoyan suspiciously. Really? Jun Haoyan nodded with a resolute look in her eyes. Although she had not seen Jun Haoyan for 10 years. After spending this period of time together, Jun Moyo also felt that Jun Haoyan was not someone who spoke without thinking. Alright, then I'll believe you for once. Jun Moyo said slowly, expressing her agreement. Although she agreed on the surface, Jun Moyo had her own plans in her mind. If she lost, she could only use that move. Chapter 95. Haoyan, promise me that you won't act recklessly in the future. Do you know who's backing Tsing Shan? Jun Moyo seemed to have thought of something, and a rare look of fear flashed across his eyes. Who is it? Jun Haoyan was also curious about Jun Moyo's words. Holy Son of Langya Sacred Ground, Wang Su. Author's note: he. Jun Moyo enunciated each word clearly, as if he was afraid of this person. The Holy Son. The backing of Tsing Shan was the Holy Son of Langya. For hundreds of thousands of years, the Holy Land of Langya had produced countless generations of Holy Sun, and every generation of the Holy Land was a demon-level existence. These days, Jun Haoyan had occasionally heard some descriptions of the Holy Sun. It was said that this generation's Holy Sun was even more demon-like and outstanding than the previous generations of Holy Sun. Moreover, Wang Su was the only Holy Son of Langya Holy Land. He was also the first candidate for the position of the Holy Lord of Langya in the future. So he's the one behind Tsing Shan. No wonder he's so arrogant. Hearing this, Jun Haoyan nodded his head as he came to a realization. At the same time, he had a feeling that the big shot behind Long Ziyue was very likely to be the Holy Sun. As the only Holy Son of Langya Holy Land, he was a terrifying existence. However, Jun Haoyan was not too worried. Things had already happened and there was no point in worrying too much. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Now, the most important thing was to try his best to improve his strength. As long as his strength increased, no matter who he faced, he would be able to crush them all. He did not need to use his brain at all. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyan mentioned it to Jun Moyo, then picked a side room and began to cultivate in seclusion. Jun Moyo looked at Jun Haoyan's back as he left. He sighed slightly, but soon his eyes were firm. Haoyan, I won't let anything happen to you. As he spoke, a silver lotus mark suddenly appeared on Jun Moyo's snow-white forehead. The mark became brighter and the surrounding space became colder and colder. Soon, the lotus mark disappeared and the surrounding void returned to normal. Qingxian Divine Peak in the Qingxian Hall. After Qi Qingshan returned to his divine peak, he thought for a moment and took out a jade talisman from the storage ring. With a thought, a stream of vital essence flowed into the jade talisman. Then the jade talisman began emitting a purple glow at the same time. A terrifying pressure instantly swept through the entire Qingxian Hall. What's the matter? Following the arrival of the terrifying pressure, an extremely majestic voice rang in the Qingxian Hall. Tsing Shan welcomes the arrival of the Holy Sun. Hearing the oppressive voice, Qi Qingshan quickly bowed and said. At this moment, this true disciple of the Langya sacred ground appeared to be extremely humble. Holy Sun Long Ziyue is dead. Tsing Shan slowly reported the news of Long Ziyue's death. What? Who killed her? Hearing Qi Qingshan's words, the dignified voice suddenly became a little angry. Then, thousands of purple rays suddenly gathered in the Qingxian Hall and turned into a purple sun. At the same time, an extremely terrifying aura spread out in the Azure Mystic Audience Hall, and under the envelopment of this aura, even the face of Qi Qingshan, who was about to break through to the 6th level of the Origin Core stage, went ghastly pale. Holy Sun, it's like this. Feeling the oppressive aura, Tsing Shan could not help but break out in a cold sweat. Then he bent his body even lower and slowly told the story of Jun Haoyan and Long Ziyue, including the 3-month agreement between Jun Haoyan and himself. What a piece of trash to be defeated by an outer sect disciple. The majestic and cold voice rang again. Just as the voice finished speaking, a purple figure slowly walked out from the giant purple sun. The purple figure was wearing a purple robe and had a head of purple hair. His face was incomparably handsome, his eyebrows slanted like swords and his eyes like stars. Every move of his carried an endless amount of pressure, like the existence of a peerless emperor, extremely majestic. Just by standing there, he gave people the feeling that everything had to submit to him. The power he displayed was simply indescribable. This figure was the Holy Sun of the Langya Holy Ground, known as the Xiang Holy Sun. Long Ziyue is dead, so be it. As for that Jun Haoyan you mentioned, just kill him. Looking at Tsing Shan, Xiang Holy Sun said indifferently. Upon closer inspection, Xiang Holy Sun's figure was a little blurry, as if this figure was not his real body but an illusion. Jun Moyo, you better watch out. If you mess this up again, don't blame me for being merciless. Looking at Xing Shan, Xiang Holy Sun said indifferently. Yes, Holy Sun. Hearing this, Xing Shan immediately responded, but his eyes were filled with doubt. He said, Holy Sun, what is Jun Moyo's identity that makes you go to such lengths to rope him in? This was a question he had been wondering for a long time. Jun Moyo was merely a fourth-tier Yuandan state, not even comparable to him. Although his talent was top-notch in the eyes of a peerless genius like Xiang Holy Sun, he should not be able to catch her eye. He did not understand why Xiang Holy Sun repeatedly ordered him to pay attention to Jun Moyo. However, just as Xing Shan asked this question, a terrifying pressure suddenly descended upon him. This pressure was like an ancient divine mountain, directly pressing down on Xing Shan, causing his entire body to tremble and his face to turn pale. The vast aura continued to spread, as if the stars were exploding and the sun and the moon were changing. Holy Sun, spare my life. Xing Shan bore the brunt of this aura. He felt as if all the bones in his body were about to be crushed, and the true origin in his body was completely suppressed, making it impossible for him to use any of it. Xing Shan even felt as if his soul was about to shatter. In the eyes of the Langya Holy Land disciples, the powerful true disciple Xing Shan was now lying on the ground, trembling like a dying dog. Next time if you talk too much, I won't show any mercy. Just as Xing Shan was about to collapse, Xiang Holy Sun spoke again. At the same time, the pressure that was pressing down on Xing Shan suddenly disappeared. Behind Xiang Holy Sun, the purple sun slowly rotated, and thousands of purple rays burst out from it. Such terrifying power was simply unheard of. The purple sun Saint Sun lived up to his name as a true peerless genius. Your subordinate deserves to die. After feeling the pressure on his body disappear, Xing Shan immediately knelt on the ground and said in horror. In the face of someone like Xiang Holy Sun, Xing Shan did not dare to show his arrogance at all. Although the figure in front of him was just a clone, it was just a clone, and not many people in the Holy Land could face a clone head-on. Although the pressure was now gone, Xing Shan's forehead was full of cold sweat when he recalled the feeling just now. He felt as if he had taken a trip to the underworld. Chapter 96. In the Green Shen Hall, Xiang Holy Sun stood in the air, his aura as majestic as the sea. I see that you are about to break through to the 6th tier of Yuandan. This is the Yin-Yang Blood Dragon Elixir. It will help you break through after taking it. Suddenly, a bright elixir appeared in Xiang Holy Sun's hand. With a flick of his finger, the elixir fell into Xing Shan's hand. In 3 months you must kill that Jun Haotian. Xiang Holy Sun said coldly as he stared at Xing Shan. Looking at the radiant Yin-Yang Blood Dragon Elixir in his hand, Xing Shan's eyes burned with passion. He knelt down in front of Xiang Holy Sun again, his face flushed red. I will not let the Holy Sun down. I will make Jun Haotian suffer a fate worse than death. I will avenge Junior Sister Long. With the Yin-Yang Blood Dragon Elixir, Xing Shan was confident that he could advance further. I am having a gathering with Prince Jiao at the Bibo Lake. I will be back soon. I hope that everything will be over by then. Xiang Holy Sun said calmly as he looked at Xing Shan. I will obey the orders of the Holy Sun. Hearing that, Qing Shan looked extremely respectful. He bowed again and said. Xing Shan had heard of the Prince Jiao mentioned by Xiang Holy Sun. It was said that he was the only son of the demon king Juqing Jiao. He was also a peerless genius of the demon clan. He had the same status as the Holy Son of Langya in the Langya Holy Land. Such a person was truly at the top of the younger generation in the Wuxian continent. I hope that you will not disappoint me again. A cold and majestic voice sounded in the Green Shen Hall. Then, Xiang Holy Sun's figure blurred and disappeared. After Xiang Holy Sun left, Xing Shan stood up. Xing Shan held the Yin-Yang Blood Dragon pill in his hand, which was emitting a bright light. A cold light flashed in his eyes. This time, not only Jun Haotian, even Jun Mo was not going to be spared. Jun Haotian, Jun Moyo, just you wait. In 3 months I will let you know what despair is. Xing Shan glanced coldly in the direction of Mo Yushin Peak. Then, with a flash, he entered the secret chamber to cultivate in seclusion. At this time, the matter of the life and death battle between the true disciple Xing Shan and the outer disciple Jun Haotian had also been thoroughly discussed. Almost all the disciples of the Langya Holy Land were shocked when they heard the news. There was only one thought in their minds, and that was that Jun Haoyan had gone mad. He had indeed overturned the Misty Peak and killed the core disciple Long Ziyue. But what kind of person was a true disciple? It is said that senior brother Qi has already gone into seclusion and is preparing to break through to the 6th tier of Yuan Dan. What? So fast? Does that mean Jun Haoyan has no chance at all? He is definitely dead. The tallest tree in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. It is such a simple principle, but Jun Haoyan does not understand it. Not necessarily. It is said that Jun Haoyan is backed by senior sister Jun, a true disciple. And senior sister Jun is the successor of a Taishang elder. If a Taishang elder intervenes, Xing Shan cannot say anything. The rules of the life and death ring were set by the ancestors. Even the Holy Lord cannot change it. I think Jun Haoyan is dead meat. This is the consequence of offending a true disciple. Almost all the disciples of the Langya Holy Land were discussing. A small number of people believed that Jun Haoyan would not die even if he had signed a life and death contract. However, the vast majority of people felt that Jun Haoyan was dead for sure. Each of the 108 true disciples of the sacred land was incomparably powerful. The reason why the Langya Holy Land was one of the 7 great sacred lands of the human race. These true disciples played an important role in the sacred land. Jiang Qin, an outer disciple at the 6th level of True Origin realm, wanted to defeat a Yuandan cultivator? How was this possible? Just like that, all kinds of opinions were expressed. The Langya Holy Land had not been so lively in a long time. But all of this, Jun Haoyan turned a deaf ear to it. In one of the great halls of the Mou Shrine, Jun Haoyan sat cross-legged in the middle of the main hall with an indifferent expression. At this moment, an extremely powerful and boundless true origin energy flowed freely within his body. Under the effect of the heaven-gorging demonic art, the heaven and earth Yuan Qi in the void was madly rushing into every part of Jun Haoyan's body. At the same time, the Golden Emperor incinerating heaven's flame was pushed to the extreme by Jun Haoyan, crazily tempering Jun Haoyan's body. The blood essence of the golden winged rock. The power of yin and yang. The ancient giant elephant. The Golden Emperor incinerating heaven's flame. This extraordinary power kept surging within Jun Haoyan's body. Jun Haoyan could feel that his physical body was undergoing a constant metamorphosis under such a violent force. His body had already reached the level of a treasure body, and it was the rare yin-yang treasure body. With the gradual transformation of the yin-yang treasure body, Jun Haoyan was progressing towards the limit of a treasure body. As long as he was given enough time, his treasure body would one day transform into a saint body. Ding. The check-in time has been refreshed. Would the host like to check in? At this moment, a sound interrupted Jun Haoyan's cultivation. It was the familiar sound of the system notification. Hearing the system's voice, Jun Haoyan could not help but be overjoyed. He had made a 3-month agreement with Xing Shan, and it just so happened that he needed to greatly improve his strength. Now that the check-in time had refreshed, it was really timely. Check-in. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyan directly said in his heart, "Ding. Congratulations to the host for check-in successfully. You have received a ginseng fruit." What? Ginseng fruit? Hearing the system notification, Jun Haoyan was shocked. The check-in item this time was actually a ginseng fruit. According to the myths, eating a ginseng fruit could make one immortal. Although the ginseng fruit was not that magical, its effect was extremely heaven-defying. It was a kind of supreme immortal fruit that could be used to temper one's body. Eating a ginseng fruit could transform every cell and pore in a person's body from head to toe, from the inside out. Whether it was the cells or the blood, it was a qualitative change. It was completely out of the human category. One had to know that in the Wuxian continent, only powerhouses who had broken through to the immortal realm could be said to be above the level of human. That was the qualitative change of life. Jun Haoyan now had the yin-yang treasure body. After eating the ginseng fruit, he could directly transform into a supreme sacred body. His body was unparalleled and he could kill gods and demons. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyan could not help but feel excited. Although the treasure body was extremely rare, it was not unheard of in the Langya sacred ground. It was said that the Ziyang Holy Sun was at the treasure body level. But the sacred body was different. It was a peerless existence that rarely appeared in the entire Great Era. Once the sacred body was formed, as long as it did not die, it would almost certainly reach the immortal realm. Only the sacred body could be considered a true peerless physique. Jun Haoyan could not guarantee that there were no sacred bodies in the entire Wuxian continent of the human race. But according to Jun Haoyan's estimation, the number of peerless people with sacred bodies was definitely not more than 5. Chapter 97. Judging from the current situation, there was no holy physique on the continent. This was not difficult to understand. Most likely, any force, even a colossus like the 7 great holy lands, would hide and carefully nurture a saint physique after obtaining it. After all, only a fully grown holy body could be called a holy body. There were more than hundreds of millions of warriors on the martial god continent. However, there were only 5 holy bodies. What did that mean? Although there was only a difference of 1 level, the status of a treasure body and a holy body were worlds apart. Jun Haoyin could not help but feel excited when he thought that he was about to condense a holy body. After taking a deep breath, Jun Haoyin slowly took out the ginseng fruit. The ginseng fruit was named ginseng fruit because it looked very similar to a newborn baby. At this moment, the ginseng fruit was emitting an abstruse and mysterious light, which was dazzling. It was the power of law. The ginseng fruit was indeed an immortal fruit. It contained the power of law. Just holding the ginseng fruit, Jun Haoyin felt that his whole body was about to be sublimated. Without any hesitation, Jun Haoyin picked up the ginseng fruit and put it into his mouth. The ginseng fruit was indeed an immortal fruit. It melted in his mouth. Before Jun Haoyin could taste it, he felt a liquid enter his body. The moment the liquid entered Jun Haoyin's body, Jun Haoyin's whole body was dyed golden. The immortal liquid of the ginseng fruit flowed into Jun Haoyin's body like a golden torrent. Jun Haoyin felt that his limbs and bones had been sublimated. Every cell, every meridian, and every organ in his body shot out thousands of golden lights. In an instant, Jun Haoyin opened his eyes. They were bloodshot and sweat kept oozing from his forehead. At this moment, his body was suffering unimaginable pain, from the depths of his soul to his bone marrow. Even Jun Haoyin, who had experienced several painful tempering, found it difficult to bear such pain. The ginseng fruit's medicinal power was too strong. It was as if a big world had been squeezed into his body. It was unbearable. Whose body could contain a great cosmos? Jun Haoyin could. Jun Haoyin frantically activated the heaven-devouring demonic skill and tried his best to dissolve the infinite power contained in the ginseng fruit. The boundless golden divine radiance was refined by him, and then it flowed into Jun Haoyin's limbs and bones, fusing into Jun Haoyin's blood, bones, meridians, and internal organs. In an instant, Jun Haoyin felt an unprecedented power gushing out from his body. It was terrifying beyond compare. His entire body seemed to be made of gold, emitting an immortal divine radiance. Every inch of his skin, every pore, and even his blood had turned golden at this moment. However, unlike before, the golden divine radiance no longer existed on the surface, and it had fused perfectly with Jun Haoyin from the inside out. Furthermore, that golden color was now completely fused with the Mega Mammoth seed he had awakened with the strength of the hell-crushing God Mammoth. At this moment, Jun Haoyin seemed to be able to see the changes in his body. The Mega Mammoth seed in his body had turned into a golden Mega Mammoth, and the stars on his back had turned into golden suns. Carrying the golden suns, stepping on the immeasurable hell. Finally, at this moment, Jun Haoyin's physique had transformed. Indestructible body, divine chi and blood, and a saint divine soul. This was the saint physique. But this was not the end. The energy contained in the ginseng fruit was too majestic. As a result, Jun Haoyin's cultivation level had shown an explosive growth. 7th level of true origin. 8th level of true origin. 9th level of true origin. 10th level of true origin. 10th level of true origin, great perfection. In an instant, Jun Haoyin's cultivation level had reached the great perfection of true origin. Just when Jiang Chen thought it was over, the boundless magical power in his body began to surge. Boundless divine radiance gathered in his body and turned into a golden sun, illuminating the boundless sky. Jun Haoyin was shocked and in disbelief. He had skipped 5 levels and reached the great perfection of true origin. Just a little bit more and he would be able to condense the Yuan Dan. Such progress was simply unheard of. This was something that Jun Haoyin had never expected. There was nothing he could do about it, the energy contained in the ginseng fruit was just too strong. If it wasn't for Jun Haoyin's heaven-devouring demonic skill, he wouldn't have been able to completely devour it. Also, he had the yin-yang annihilation skill, a peerless skill that could harmonize all kinds of true origin and energy in his body. It was because of all these that Jun Haoyin was able to successfully absorb the energy contained in the ginseng fruit. Right now, not only had Jun Haoyin successfully condensed the peerless saint physique, it wouldn't be long before he could condense the Yuan Dan with the help of the ginseng fruit. His overall strength would skyrocket. But Jun Haoyan knew that the ginseng fruit had more than just these effects. Sure enough, the golden divine radiance sank into his body. Ancient mega mammoths kept roaring. They stepped on hell and carried the golden sun on their backs, shaking the heavens. In the next moment, 1,000 ancient mega mammoths turned golden. At the same time, more than 800 million cells also shot out endless divine radiance. Together with the golden blood, the radiance was dazzling. Under such a powerful force, the mega mammoth seed in Jun Haoyan's body was instantly awakened. 1,001 seeds. 1,100 seeds. 1,200 seeds. 1,300 seeds. 1,500 seeds. 2,100 seeds. 2,300 seeds. 2,500 seeds. 3,000 seeds. At this moment, almost 2,000 mega mammoth seeds had awakened in Jun Haoyan's body. It was simply unimaginable. With such vigorous true origin, Jun Haoyan could even kill a first-stage Yuandan expert with his true origin alone. Of course, this was under the condition that Jun Haoyan didn't use any skills. Moreover, Jun Haoyan was far from reaching his limit. As he continued to refine the power of the ginseng fruit, the mega mammoth seed in his body continued to awaken and condense. The entire hall was dyed golden by his golden aura, blooming with dazzling radiance. Especially Jun Haoyan's body, which had undergone earth-shaking changes. His body had become crystal clear. Every pore and every part of his body seemed to be absorbing the essence of heaven and earth. If it weren't for the protection of the origin formation outside the Mou shrine, the entire Langya sacred ground would have been attracted by Jun Haoyan's actions. How could the birth of a sacred body be so simple? Waves of vigorous true origin condensed, and the golden sun in Jun Haoyan's body became more and more dazzling. When a martial artist entered the Yuandan realm, a Yuandan would condense in his body. If he continued to advance, the Yuandan would be engraved with a heaven and earth vein. Every additional heaven and earth vein represented a new level of cultivation. One heaven and earth vein represented the first level of the Yuandan. When there were 10 heaven and earth veins, that would be the 10th level of the Yuandan, and a great tribulation of heaven and earth would follow. This realm was also known as the Sovereign Realm. Chapter 98. Jun Haoyan was still a distance away from the Yuandan realm. Even so, his true origin, body and energy had reached the limit of the peak of the true energy realm. It was the legendary perfect state. Soon Jun Haoyan closed his eyes again. His body was still absorbing the medicinal power of the ginseng fruit, and the giant elephant seeds were continuously condensed. According to Jun Haoyan's estimation, with the remaining medicinal power of the ginseng fruit in his body, the awakening of the giant elephant seeds would last for 5 to 6 days before the energy of the ginseng fruit was exhausted. During this process, Jun Haoyan was not idle. He immersed his mind into his body and constantly checked the changes in his body to familiarize himself with the sudden surge of power. After all, Xing Shan was a true disciple who had the strength of a 5th-level Yuandan realm. He also had various treasured weapons to protect his body, and he had divine powers. Such an existence was far beyond the likes of Long Ziyue. No matter what, Jun Haoyan could not let his guard down in this decisive battle. Moreover, he had some kind of ambition in his heart. In this decisive battle, he did not want to simply defeat Xing Shan. He wanted to crush Xing Shan, a true disciple, to the ground. Only in this way could he intimidate people. Only in this way could he enter the eyes of the higher-ups in the Holy Land and reach the top in one step. Just like this, 5 days passed in the blink of an eye. At this time, the power in Jun Haoyan's body finally began to stabilize. At this moment, 10,000 giant elephant seeds had been condensed in his body. 10,000 seeds. Such a terrifying number. At this moment, Jun Haoyan's strength could be said to be extremely powerful. Even if he faced Xing Shan at this moment, he was still completely confident in the battle. Especially his body, who knew how much benefit it had received. The blood in his body had directly transformed into a golden color. This meant that Jun Haoyan's physique had completely transformed and he had successfully condensed the divine body. His flesh was sparkling and translucent, releasing radiance from time to time, giving off a powerful and terrifying feeling. Jun Haoyan's current saint body could probably shatter a mid-grade treasure artifact without relying on true essence. He could even go head-to-head with a supreme grade artifact. This was a saint body. The changes to the body were incomparably huge. If he could fully develop his saint physique, it would be easy for him to break through to the immortal realm in the future. Unfortunately, he still hadn't managed to step into the Yuandan realm. At this moment, a loud roar attracted Jun Haoyan's attention. A beam of divine light shot out from his eyes. At this moment, Jun Haoyan saw the source of the sound through the clouds and mountains. In the distance, a violent explosion sounded out as a vast amount of vital qi spread out. It was powerful and terrifying. Countless outer sect, inner sect, core sect, and even successor sect disciples were alarmed by this wave of energy, and all of them came out. They all looked in the same direction. Qingxian Divine Peak, Xingshan's Divine Peak. Over there, hundreds of purple thunder snakes were swimming around. Purple thunder snakes and vital qi were surging in the void. That vast power permeated every corner of Qingxian Divine Peak. Even the successor disciples' divine peaks nearby were affected. The violent aura vibrated, and the purple thunder snakes swept across, triggering layers of storms. It was Qingxian Peak. Jun Haoyan moved his mind. Xingshan was breaking through to the 6th level of Yuandan. And it was nearing the end. Senior Brother Qi has broken through to the 6th level of Yuandan. That's fast. Shouldn't he need at least a few more years? Senior Brother Qi is extremely talented, and he's on good terms with the Holy Sun. It's normal for him to break through so quickly. What a pity for Jun Haoyan, who didn't know his place and challenged him. Senior Sister Jun may be a successor sect disciple, but she's no match for someone like Senior Brother Qi. It seems that Senior Brother Qi will crush him one-sidedly when the time comes. Countless disciples sighed when they saw this scene. Since Xingshan was about to break through, Jun Haoyan had even less chance of winning. The 7 palace elders also felt that it was a pity. Jun Haoyan was a good seedling. It's a pity that he's going to fall like this. Boom. Finally, at this moment, the Qingxian Divine Peak exploded with a vast aura once again. Hundreds of purple thunder snakes shuttled back and forth. Each of them seemed to have a life of their own and were extremely powerful. Countless people looked at this scene with solemn eyes. Ah! A series of laughter sounded, and the powerful vital qi blew away the clouds. Qi Qingshan turned into an illusory purple thunderbolt and stood above the void. He was wearing a green robe and was surrounded by lightning, like an absolute powerhouse. Jun Haoyan, I've broken through to the 6th level of Yuandan. You're going to die soon. I'll make you regret challenging me. It's your honor to die in my hands. Xingshan stared at Mo Yushin Peak with an arrogant look on his face. His vital qi was vibrating, and it hit the array formation on Mo Yushin Peak from time to time. He opened his mouth slightly, and there was a huge amount of vital qi vibrating. This was a provocation and also a complete disregard for Jun Haoyan. That terrifying aura swept across. Some disciples on Mo Yushin Peak trembled and didn't dare to speak. Their faces were pale and they couldn't bear it at all. That was the 6th level of Yuandan, and he already had the ability to compete for the top 15 positions among the Disha true disciples. At this rate, it was only a matter of time before Xingshan became a true disciple of the Heavenly Spirit Array. Seeing this scene, Jun Moyo frowned. Xingshan was too arrogant. Such provocation was not taking her seriously at all. At that moment, she was ready to take a step forward and go directly to Mo Yushin Peak. Xingshan, do you want to fight? Outside Mo Yushin Peak, Jun Moyo stared coldly at Xingshan, as if she would attack at any moment. Junior Sister Jun, I'm here to negotiate with you. Seeing Jun Moyo, Xingshan's eyes revealed a trace of success. As long as you agree to that, I will spare your precious brother's life after 3 months. How about it? Xingshan looked at Jun Moyo confidently. Hearing this, Jun Moyo immediately fell into deep thought, as if she was really considering Xingshan's suggestion. But at this moment there was another roar from Mo Yushin Peak. You just broke through, and you dare to be arrogant in front of me? A voice from the forest sounded, and it was extremely domineering. Jun Haoyan walked out and his voice was extremely loud. Everyone could feel that Jun Haoyan had become stronger in the past few days. But so what? A true energy realm cultivator could defeat a Yuandan realm cultivator. How many people in the world could do that? Arrogant. When the time comes, I will make you wish you were dead. I'll show you what the gap is. Xingshan stood in the void, staring at Jun Haoyan with killing intent. Even some of the true disciples were a little shocked. As long as it was within the rules, Langya Sacred Ground did not forbid disciples from fighting. This was also one of the reasons why Langya Sacred Ground was so powerful. When the 3-month agreement comes, I will kill you. Jun Haoyan spoke again, and his aura was even stronger than Xingshan's. He was dressed in white, and there was an indescribable elegance about him. All the disciples present felt their scalps tingle. They did not know where Jun Haoyan's confidence came from. After Tsing Shan heard this, he snorted coldly. In his opinion, an ant would never be able to regret the heavens. With a cold smile, Tsing Shan disappeared into the void. Jun Haoyan also turned around. There were still more than 2 months before the decisive battle between the two sides. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.